Okay. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready? Looks nice and bright there. Okay. Let me see now. Ant is here. Ant is here. Nice to hear from you, Ant. Nice to hear. How's it going, mate? How's it going? Ant is here. Hope all's well. Hope you're having a good weekend, Ant. So it's about 10 o'clock in Romania. It's 8 p.m. in the UK. It's bizarre. John Mitch, nice to hear from you, John. Okay, the old stalwart there. Great to hear from you guys. Really great to hear from you. Yoz Travels, Travis Devola, Bintman, nice to hear from you guys. Lieutenant Columbo's Glass Eye, good evening. Ernest Connell, Michael Jenias, McLaren F1 race, Eddie, Pinball, evening Ed. John Hughes, rookie cameraman, Joseph Darragh. That one guy, Thailand is okay 5 months a year. Well, that's good, that's good. We're going to talk about all of this because it's a very important subject. Who's that? Who called me Grandpa? Yeah, okay. Pataya Newbie, hey pal, when are you next in Thailand? You know, in the not too distant future. Edward, my grandpa, super nice. Hello all. Daniel Kelly, Eugene Vincent, Billy Pats, Anders Bergman, Casey, met you in Surrey, LK Metro in February. Okay, nice to hear from you, mate. Pele's here. Metal Amster, Paul Hoskin, Glenn, I do believe in fairies. Okay, I'll get to 100 in the chat and then we'll start waffling on anyway. Joey Roberts, Andrew Hammond, Stevie Boy, Ivan, Michael Janaeus. I'm booked for the 2nd of September. I'm presuming that you mean Thailand. Okay, Oliver Stoller, evening Ed, good to catch you live. Okay, now what a strange... Azeb Sherry, good evening Eddie, my mate. How are you? I'm fine, thanks mate. Okay, so I'm going to waffle on about a subject now. I'm in Romania right now. I'm here for the last few days in Romania. I'm actually in Bucharest. Now you may think, you know, what am I doing here on a Saturday night? I should be out partying, shouldn't I? But I was in Bucharest town centre last night, doing a little sneaky bit of filming. So I'm winding down. This is coming to the end of my, my little traveling adventure. Traveling adventure. It's been a good month. And what a strange time. All these weather warnings we're having from England now. People are urged on Monday not to travel on Monday. Well, I'm going back middle of the week. So what am I going back to? Scottish. I was actually sitting at a restaurant here today, gloriously sunny here today in Bucharest. I went over within about 10 minutes, the sky turned dark, and I'm sitting under this canopy in a restaurant, and a bloody thunderstorm started anyway. So that was fun. Okay, Gary Hughes, Mickey Berkshire, Jason. Apologies if I miss anybody. Heath Robin, Peter Blue, David. I've watched every live stream of the last year. Good for you, mate. Thanks for that anyway. Hello, Scotty Moore. Hello, Eddie. Retirement in Thailand, concept is that you get bored of an exciting place. Okay, now this is what we want to talk about. John Freeman, unless you got good retirement wage coming in to cover rent and food and medical, I would say no. Okay, Bertie's Adventure. So, you know, I woke up today. Now, there isn't that retirement every now and again, and it's probably similar for a lot of you guys. The reason the subject of retirement has crossed my mind again is that I'm self-employed back in England. Although I don't really need to go into details about what job I do. You know, I may do sometimes, but I don't really need to go into details. But I haven't worked since you know the new year really. Before I headed out to Thailand. Now, from coming back to Thailand to heading out to Romania, there was like a 7-week period. I was 7 weeks at home, and that gave me a lot of time to think about, you know, me future and what's going on. Do I want to go back to work in England, or do I want to, retire in somewhere? Now, this is a massive subject. The subject of retirement, it's not something to take lightly. As someone who's travelled for many years to a lot of places, like like Thailand, Cambodia, wherever. Guys who I know back in the UK who have never really travelled the way that I've travelled, they've often said to me, why don't you go and live abroad? Somewhere like Thailand. I mean, you like that country so much. Why don't you go live there? The people who say that are the ones who don't really understand the bigger picture. It's not as simple as that. You need to take an awful lot, to do it properly, you need to take an awful lot of things into consideration. Whether you've got enough money to go and retire abroad, that's the biggest consideration. But also, is retirement really the life that you want? Is it all that it's cracked up to be? Okay, you go abroad, not work again, you've got enough money, you're in a place which you love. Is it really as simple as that? I think there's a lot more to that. So we'll talk about this tonight. Let me see now. Okay, apologies if I missed anyone. John Mitch. Okay, I'm going to start with John Mitch. Yeah, no, Soy Boy. Hi, I hope you have a good time. Hawaii in August the 13th. Good for you, mate. John Mitch, 3 months Thailand, 3 months Cambodia, and 3 months Colombia. No retirement visa problems. Plenty of rumpty bumpty opportunities in all of those places. Okay, well, good for you, mate. You like what you like. I like a bit of that as well, but not too much. Not too. 3 months Thailand, 3 months Cambodia, and 3 months Colombia. No retirement visa problems. Plenty of rumpty bumpty opportunities in those places. Well, that sounds great. But John, I mean, I know you're a few years older than me. The thing is, when you retire, always bear something in mind. In 10 years' time, your health might not be so good. And if I was to go out to those countries, for that length of time, I may get to the stage in years to come that I don't want to be travelling around. I just want to stay in the one place. Right now, I like travelling around. In another 5, maybe 10 years' time, I might think differently. I might not be physically capable. My legs might pack in. And and by the end of by the time I reach 70, I might not be physically capable of traveling. I just want to find the right place that's comfortable. And then that's when you've got to think about the issues of can I stay in that country? Well, that's when you got to think about retirement visas. Not just traveling around. Danish Bacon, nice to hear from you. Stuart Marsden, evening Ed, looking forward to my trip back to Land of Smiles in December. Planning to visit a couple of islands you showed on your last trip. December, that's peak season anyway, so hopefully those places will be in full swing again. Kipax, is he in the toilet this time? It may sound like that. I'm staying in a nice, comfortable little studio apartment in Bucharest right now. The toilet isn't far away. The fridge is that way. The toilet's that way. The bed is that way. But at least I don't have to bloody get an aeroplane to go and visit the toilet like I did in the last place I stayed in down in the Black Sea. Paul Hoskin, perhaps retiring to Cambodia or Vietnam would work, where you can visit Pattaya in only a couple of hours. Vietnam's a subject, isn't it? Because Vietnam was tipped for many, many years as the new Thailand. It never ever lived up to that. Don't get me wrong, Vietnam is a wonderful country. It's an amazing country. I've travelled through that country quite a lot. It's a wonderful country. But about 10 years ago, people started saying it's the new Thailand. Well, it isn't. It isn't for a variety of reasons. I mean, Nha Trang, which is their premier beach resort, was tipped to become the next Pattaya. Well, it's only Pattaya if you happen to be Russian. It doesn't have what Pattaya has to offer. And the last time I was in Nha Trang, it is predominantly Russians there. Basically, there's not really many other nationalities. So, and also with Vietnam, that country have now made it very, very difficult for people to retire there. It seemed to be easy at one time, but now basically they've made the visa situation retirement visa. I don't even know if there's such a thing as a retirement visa in Vietnam, but they've made it. That's now a difficult country to retire in. Joey Roberts, booked for September with Etihad from Manchester, paid 500. Booked for September with Etihad from Manchester, paid 530 in July, now nearly 1,000. Okay, so you're going in September. Well, good for you, mate. Anyway, yeah, for flight tickets I haven't looked at them in the last few days, so I've got all that to come. Casey, I think it's a good subject for discussion. I think Thailand is better for holidays and live in the UK. Maybe stay in Thailand for the autumn and winter. I just hate the hassle with transferring money. Uh, it's not as difficult as you think. You find your own little system, and it's not as difficult as you think. Kipax, I'm doing it before I hit 50, Eddie. Life is always a risk. Only early 40s, so a bit too early to quit the UK. Okay, well, that's fair enough. So, over the years, I've travelled to a lot of places, and basically I've travelled for half the year. I started doing it, 6 months at a time, but then realised that's 6 months of eating and drinking and eating and drinking, and it wears you down. So then I started breaking my travels up a bit, maybe a couple of months here, maybe 3 months there, whatever, whatever. But I'm now at the stage when I'm thinking about it. You've got to find one place which you feel comfortable with, and that's the place where you want to be. But is retirement all that it's cracked up to be? Well, let me tell you something. I mean, if you retire in one country, first of all, you've got to find the right place where you want to retire, and I haven't yet. I don't believe that I've actually found the one place where I would like to live for the rest of my life. I really, really haven't. I still like to go to a variety of places. But I have met a lot of expats on my travels, and you'd be surprised how miserable a lot of them are. They're not always there. I've met even a place like Pattaya. You may think, wouldn't it be great to live there, and have women on tap, and we go down to the bars every day. I've met loads of grumpy, disillusioned expats, loads of them, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have as well. Bintman, no other place matches up to Thailand. It's got everything you want. Okay, fair comment. Paul Hoskin, or maybe retire to Spain. No, not for me, mate. Not for, I like Spain. I like Benidorm, but I wouldn't want to. No, that's not for me, mate. Keith Floyd, bought a property in Spain a few years back. Going to be retiring there and still doing my 2 month long trips to Thailand a year. Well, that's good. That sounds really, really good. That sounds good. See, I had the problem is I bought a property in Turkey many years ago, but then it was a lovely place, but I actually got a bit bored with it, and then I found really after a while I thought, why didn't I buy a place in Thailand? That would have made far more sense. I mean, going to Thailand in the winter time was like an escape from getting away from Turkey, but I think the experience that I had with buying a property abroad. It wasn't a bad experience, but it wasn't a rocket to the moon. And really, I don't like the hassle of all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, if I was to live anywhere like Thailand, I don't think I'd buy a property. I think it's cheap enough to rent there. It probably works out similar in the long run. I don't think I would want the hassle of buying a property. I really wouldn't. Philip Reed, hi mate, hope you're well. Got a new bond for you, Julian Clary. The way this country's going, he could kiss the bankers to death. I don't even think about his gadgets. Julian Clary, okay, that sounds good, yeah. Wouldn't surprise me, wouldn't bloody surprise me. Neil Fleet, coming from Wavertree, nice to hear from you, mate, nice to hear from you. Danish Bacon, when an exciting place to visit becomes the norm, when you live there, it can become boring and repetitive. Yeah, absolutely right. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you a couple of guys that I know really well where I live, who are in the same line of work as me. I can think of a guy, and I've seen him quite recently. He was 75 years of age, and which makes him 15 years older than me. And he's been going off to Thailand for donkey's years. He likes his booze and he likes his women. Good for don't we all? And he's been working in this country for 6 months at a time and going out in the autumn and winter for 6 months out to Thailand. He's done that for years and years and years. I think he goes to the same place. I'm not quite sure which one it is, but he goes to the same place. It's not Pattaya. But I've seen this guy recently. And he's now 75, this fella. And I thought to myself, he's probably got more money than I have, and I know that he's richer than I am, and I know that much. And I thought to myself, well, he's someone who could probably afford to retire in Thailand without a real problem. And yet here he is at 75 years of age, still working in England, but taking a 6-month ventures. So how hasn't he retired completely out there? And I think the answer is because it's probably because it's not the same when you retire somewhere. I mean, when you live somewhere else, the excitement goes, and it would feel strange, really. I mean, if you can imagine yourself actually going to this place which you love visiting, and then you're there all the time. Don't forget places like Thailand, Cambodia, those countries. They're not like great weather all year round. How about the dark, gloomy periods? Of the spring and the July, August, at times like that. Those places can get a bit grim, really. It's even possible for them to get a little bit depressing, really. Okay. Michael Tinias, you're right, Eddie, it's not easy. Daniel Kelly, it's a lot simpler than living here, Eddie. Well, I don't know, Danny, man. I think you might live in Ireland. I mean, I live in the country called England, and that's an interesting question. That is, it's a lot simpler than living here. Well, I mean, England, to people who come from other countries, England is actually a very, very easy place to live. I remember a South African girl actually phrased it like that. She was a white South African, and I met her in the UK, and she told me she'd come to live in England because she described England as a very, very easy place to live. In South Africa, it's not really as cheap as you think to buy clothes and stuff. Whereas in England, you can earn more money, and you've got national health and whatever. England can be to foreigners. England can be a very, very easy place to live, really. Well, look at the people who are risking their lives coming over in dinghies. I mean, those migrants, they have the opportunities to stay in France, Germany, and other places, but no, they want to risk their lives coming across the Channel. Heath Robin, it won't be the same retired in Thailand. Funny, understand what you're saying. Okay, Thailand, how about other countries? What did you mention? Vietnam. Vietnam is a great country, but they have made it very difficult for people to retire now. Cambodia is a great little country, but it is a great little country, but it's different than Thailand in the way it doesn't have as much to offer as Thailand does. So I mean, where would you live in somewhere like Cambodia? Siem Reap is a very, very pleasant town. That's a good pleasant town. Phnom Penh is a great city, but in the past I've tried to stay in Phnom Penh for a whole month at a time or a whole 2 months, and I can't stay there. I have to go somewhere else like Chinookville to get away from the place after a while. Even the best places can get a bit boring after a while. Paul Harrison, oh yeah, I'm 57. If I could retire to Thailand, but I can't afford it at the moment. But retiring to there will be a lot different than holidays there. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I agree. Captain Kirk, do you guys think you can have the same quality healthcare in Southeast Asia as in Europe or North America? Well, I'm not an expert on that, but I have met a couple of expats who say that the healthcare is pretty good in Thailand. It's not a bed of roses in England right now, mate. I mean, you look at the last couple of years in England. You can only get an appointment with the doctor if your medical condition has the word COVID in. If it isn't the antivirus, they don't want to know. I'd say it's a damn good job in the last couple of years that well, I haven't, and hopefully you haven't either, had a serious medical issue, because you would have been in deep shit in the last couple of years trying to get a doctor. Really, it's been. I've got a few medical problems in the last couple of years. Every time I try to do something about it, they don't want to know. Yours travels 8 months UK and And November to end of February to Thailand, Vietnam or Cambodia. That's good, Sam. That sounds good. That sounds good. Nick T, evening Eddie, how long do you have left over there? Caught a few vlogs and looks very nice. Only a few more days. I'm winding down. I've only travelling. I'm in Bucharest now, so I'll be flying out in a few days time. There will be more videos coming from Romania, by the way. So thanks to all those who've been watching them. Mike, it would be amazeballs. I'd go for 3 months a year. Then in 10 years, I'd go for 6 months a year. And who knows, maybe full time when I'm older, 50. When you're old at 50, okay? Makes me feel ancient. Kipax, do it before you're dead. There's also another thing that you've got to consider about retirement as well. And, somebody on, Facebook mentioned it before, is that what do you do? Everyone should know this by now. A lot of retirees, whether it's in Turkey or Thailand or Spain or whatever, a lot of them do become alcoholics. Simply because once you've overcome all the touristy things and you've been there and done all that, what do you do then? A lot of them start congregating around their little locals, their little favourite bars of a day and a night, and the next thing you know, they're drinking about 14 pints of beer a day. I've come across that. Gary Hughes, I'm retired in the UK, a widower, and it's bloody Gary Hughes, I'm retired in the UK, a widower, and it's bloody boring. Well, that's it. I wouldn't want to stay in the UK all the year round. I mean, it's I think I'd rather be in Southeast Asia. You can believe that, mate. Dino Taylor, 6 month winter, then back to UK for 6 months. Saves on the heating and electricity bills. That's my plan. That is a better plan. No, I've done that. As you said a moment ago, I like to break up my travels a bit, but I think I'll probably go back to doing 6 months in one go each year. I do recall meeting an expat, a bar owner in Sihanoukville, and basically he run a bar in a bloody rat infested bar with rats crawling across the beams at the top in a ramshackle little area of Sihanoukville, and he didn't give me the impression that it was a great lifestyle. Not really. It may be okay in the peak season for a few months, but how about all those long, laborious months where there's nothing happening, there's no tourists, it's raining a lot? Are you still going to keep your enthusiasm up then? I mean, months like July and August. And funny enough, I do remember, I think I said this before, but I spoke to this bar owner, and I asked him questions about, what's it like being a full-time expat, and then I told him what I tend to do is I like traveling. I tend to work for 6 months a year, and then I travel for the other 6 months a year. And he did actually say that he actually thought that my lifestyle was better than his, because really, if you're in the same place abroad, for 12 months a year, it gets really, really grim at certain times of the year. You've got to be aware of that. Scotty Amor, I think healthcare system in Thailand now is not the worst. It was many years ago. If I've fallen behind the chat, by the way, apologies on that. Tintin, good evening from Poland, from Aussie Tintin. Okay, nice to hear from you, mate. KC, how can you go for 6 months a year? Do you just keep extending your visa, or do you have to get 1 year visa with multiple entry? Well, what I discovered this year, and I spent 4 months in Thailand at the start of this year, and what I discovered, you can stay there for 6 months if you use an agent. Every couple of months you can do 60 days, 3 times. It seems to be quite easy to do that. Danish Bain, is that the room with the massive TV? Well, there is a massive TV in there anyway. But I don't use it. I don't bother with it. Mike, I've never seen Ed keep up with the chat ever. Have I? John Mitch, at the point I cannot wipe my backside, I will finish up in Switzerland at the Digitist Clinic saying goodbye to this world. He's talking about euthanasia there, of course, as well. Oh God, I don't even like to think of that. I mean, I don't want to, get married just so that I can have somebody who can wipe me bum, like, in my old age when I can't. Oh, I don't even. I'm 60 years old. I'm 60 years old. I 70, 80, 90. Oh, I don't even want to think about all of that. I want to be gone long before that. No, I don't want to be in that situation. Danish bacon in the Chang. The menus are in Russian first, then England. Yeah, it makes sense. Nick says, I presume not so many Russians there now. I don't know, it was a couple of years back, wasn't it, in Vietnam? Donald Trump, howdy, Edward, your local president is in the house. Nice to hear from you. Bintman, the way I see it, no one knows how long we have on this planet. Make the most of it and do what you want to do. Who wants to see their last years out in the UK anyway? That's interesting, Bintman. It is interesting. And there's another thought that maybe in years to come, if I carried on working for 6 months in England, and then I had 6 months in Thailand. Well, that's not a bad lifestyle anyway, isn't it? When you think about it, it's not bad. It's not it's not really that bad anyway. But if I got to, like, say 75, I was on my deathbed, or 80 or whatever, and I thought to myself, well, I've continued working for 6 months, traveling for 6 months. I never actually got round to fully retiring in those beautiful Asian countries. I'd like to think to myself, yeah, but I've still had a bloody good life though, haven't I? It's not a bad life. It's not a bad. You've got to. Sometimes I don't think that anyone's ever going to have the perfect life. I haven't got the perfect life, but it isn't that bad. I'm still able to go. In the last 12 months, I've been abroad for 7 months. A total of 7 months in a variety of places. So it's sometimes you've got to be thankful for what you've got. I mean, I know plenty of people. I know people my age who've never left the UK, who've never been anywhere. They'd like to, but there's always been circumstances come up, and some people have never really had the right people to go abroad travelling with, but they don't have the independent spirit. I mean, there's not everybody who can get on a plane on their own and go to the other side of the world. Many people simply couldn't do that. They just don't have that kind of confidence or that kind of independent spirit. Gemini Star, health system in Thailand is second to none compared to other countries in the region. Okay, well, that's good to hear. McLaren F1 race, base yourself in a nearby cheaper country to live and commute to Thailand. Vietjet Air are operating in and out of several countries. Very reasonable flights. Is Vietnam now, before the pandemic, Vietnam, you could go there from Thailand for maybe up to 14 days without a visa. And it was because I'd done it a couple of times. I mean, hopefully that's all come about again. David May, my mate retired to the Philippines at 46. David May, my mate retired to the Philippines at 46. Forgot to tell his liver died a year later. Oh, God Almighty. God Almighty. Super Stephen, I heard you're going retired. Not quite decided yet. Not quite decided. Kev151. Hi Eddie, you mentioned cruising last live stream. I worked on cruise ships for 25 years. I really recommend Royal Caribbean. Try Anthem of the Seas out of Southampton. Loads to do. That's interesting. Personally, I've seen all those cruise ships when they were birthed out of the south coast last year. Some of them look absolutely. It's a thing that man can build floating palaces. I'd love to see those. But it's just that they have a stigma with them, don't they? Old grannies, old biddies, and all that. I wondered if I actually went on one of them for a couple of weeks and started vlogging everything and made videos. I mean, it would be interesting. If I made videos, would you actually be interested in that sort of stuff? Heath Robin, coming back to Britain makes you realise what you're missing. Living full time in Thailand, not sure. Been travelling there 20 odd years. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Heath Robin, 6 months there and 6 months here, I think. Yeah, it's okay. Because there's also another thing. Let's make no bones about it. If you're going to retire somewhere like Thailand or any country, Cambodia's probably cheaper. And I believe their visa system is really quite generous these days. It's probably an easier country to retire in. But wherever you go, you have got to have plenty of money. You've got to have plenty of money, no question about it. I wouldn't like to go and sell up and retire in Thailand and then 10 years down the line found that I was scratching away making to try and make ends meet out there. I wouldn't like to think of that. I wouldn't like to think in 10 years time I needed a new piece of equipment like a laptop. Back in England, if I need a new laptop or I want to treat myself to an expensive one, I can go and do that. I can go and buy one. I wouldn't like to think in years to come out in Thailand I needed a new laptop or whatever, but I was deliberately targeting the cheapest one and I was shopping at the cheapest supermarkets. I wouldn't like to think of that. I like a little bit of luxury like everybody else does. And the only way I know of getting a bit of luxury is through work in England. Mark Holland, nice to hear from you, mate. Nice to hear from you. Good afternoon, Eddie. Greetings from Minnesota, USA. How's the weather there, Mark, in Minnesota? In Britain, it's panic state. I'm not in Britain right now, but I'm kind of dreading going back there in a few days' time. It's panic stations. They're telling people on the news not to travel on Monday this week simply because it's going to be 40 Celsius, and it's a red warning, and this is something Britain's never known before. Oh God! I wonder will Britain get locked down because of a heat wave? Wouldn't surprise me. SS Boy, Ed, Thailand and Bali, January to May, then back to the UK. Okay, good for you, mate. Good for you. Super 23. Will Boris be okay with you retiring? I don't think he gets a say in it, does he? He said, man, where else Southeast Asia other than Thailand, Philippines and Malaysia do retirement visas? Well, I haven't really considered anywhere else. Philippines is quite possibly a better option really to retire. Except I prefer. I think Thailand's more fun. It's a country that I'm more used to. Philippines it's a wonderful country, and I'd like to see more of it. But I'm not sure that's the place that I'd retire. Leeds, Frank Travels, good evening, gentlemen. Mark Olive, I've learned the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Mark, that phrase escaped me. I wasn't thinking about that, but you're damn right. The grass isn't always good. I mean, people think the grass is greener. If you missed the chat early, Mark, what I was saying is that because I've travelled a lot over the years, I've come across many people who said to me, "Look, Ed, why don't you go and live out there? You seem to like, you seem to like travelling to Thailand and Cambodia, these countries. Why don't you just go and live out there permanently?" It's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as that. Because those countries, they may be great to visit, but they're not always so great to live in for a variety of reasons. So, well said, Mark. Anyway, Ernest Connell retired in Blackpool. I'd say Blackpool, great place to visit, terrible place to live in. I watched a video the other day. I can't remember the guy's name. He's got a YouTube channel, and he was walking away from Blackpool seafront. He was walking away around the town, and God, that place looks absolutely destroyed. It really looks shops and buildings all boarded up. It looks really, really dreadful now. Camille found it. How can you afford to travel most of the time? Well, I'm a budget traveller for one thing. I'm a budget. I mean, this is a nice little comfortable hotel. It's got a bathroom. It's got whatever, but it's not 5-star luxury. I mean, I couldn't afford 5-star luxury for 6 months a year. No way. Cats and good coffee. Hello, nice to hear. Hello, Super Eddie and gentlemen. Nice to hear from you, mate. Yours travels. Kev, I love Anthem of the Seas. I had some fun times on that ship. Just booked on Britannia for August, 14 nights in the Med, 8999. I'm envious. I'd love to try one of them. I'd love to try one of those places. one of those big cruise lines. I mean, you know, I've never actually stepped foot on one of them. I'd like to step foot and we'd have a walk around, and you know, I think that'd be. I've got to try that one of those one of these days. Tony and Dad, good subject, Eddie. Biggest mistake for many is that they have a great time at a few weeks in Land of Smiles. I'm paying for it, by the way, and they think it will be the same if they retire. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is the case that you know, there's a lot of guys who go out there and they may have a bit of money behind me, but that money can go, even if they have quite a significant amount of money. If you go and live out there and then start partying and day and night and living like a rock star, that money can go. And I've seen it happen. I know, I've come across people even on my recent travels who've retired out in Thailand and they're blown through a small fortune. It's I hope that those people are millionaires, because if they're not millionaires, then they're going to be skint by the end of the year. Heath Robin, 100% correct, mate. Okay. McLaren F1 race, good idea. Summer UK, Thailand winter. Yeah, it's a good idea. It's not perfect. I mean, has anyone actually got the perfect life? But I mean, for me personally, my own circumstances, the idea of working 6 months a year in England and then living out in staying out in Thailand or Cambodia or whatever for 6 months a year, that is actually doable. And I would find it quite easy to do that. But as for retirement, it's so complex. You've got to think about, your health issues and your national insurance and God knows what else. And it's far more complicated. Kipax, I think Hua Hin is a place I can see me live one day. A lot of people like Hua Hin, and there's a lot of people like Hua Hin, but it's it didn't really do it for me. Not really. Some people love it. Mark Alec, and there's no place like home. Okay, well, it depends where your home is. I mean, but where I live, my life in England is not a bed of roses. It's not a bed of roses. But the fact is that I can work there, I can earn money, and then that fuels my travels. You see, so it's not a perfect system, but it isn't particularly bad either. Kev, I am now 64 in the UK, not looking forward to my retirement in England, lonely old age. Oh God Almighty, that doesn't sound good. Do you not travel much, Kev? Are you not able to, go and live the winter months in Thailand or wherever, Good luck to you anyway, mate. Stevie boy, retired in Bangkok, then you can go all over Asia, wherever you want, cheap flights and everywhere in an hour or two. Bangkok's a great city, great city. It's a city that when I first seen it 20 odd years ago, I didn't like it, but it just grows and grows and grows on you over the years. It really does. Chris Gallant, the risk is you end up an alcoholic, and without a tight partner, you're limited to a condo. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point. Heath Robin, I think like you, 100%. Retirement there, not sure. Okay. Because like I say, your enthusiasm goes. I mean, during those rainy, wet seasons when there's not a lot of people, those even places like Thailand can be pretty grim. If you're there at the wrong time of year. Paul Hoskin, wherever you live is wonderful. Just ask the tourists. They ask you for directions. Okay, fine. Hi Eddie, Ryan Denver. Hi Eddie. Even when you do retire, you have to keep yourself occupied. Otherwise, you become stagnant and your health goes downhill. And even if you retired in Thailand, there is so much red tape. Yeah, this is it. There is a lot of red tape with retiring in Thailand. There is in other countries as well, Philippines, Vietnam. I just don't think that's a suitable place for people to think about retiring right now. I don't think the Vietnamese want us to retire there. That's the way it looks to me. Cambodia is becoming, it is a far easier place to retire in. I was watching YouTube videos today about various ones, and apparently you can arrive in Cambodia. This is as I understand it on a tourist visa, and then you can extend for about $300. A yearly visa and just keep extending it indefinitely. That's the way it sounded to me. But Cambodia is welcoming tourists, but is that going to last? I mean, Vietnam at one point seemed to be welcoming retirees and tourists. I mean, now they seem to be quite hostile. Maybe Cambodia could go the same way. You just never know. I mean, Thailand is still the most stable country in that region, no doubt about it. John Freeman, I hear Malaysia, a good place to retire. Have holiday in Pattaya, plenty of red wine. I didn't like Malaysia. I've been there. It was. I just didn't think it was as friendly a country as the others in that region. KC, Chris Gallen always thought to be happy enough in a condo. Nung Kai Sabai, always rent in Thailand. Yeah, that seems to be good. I'm going to pour myself a beer. The good thing about a nice little place like this is that, everything is pretty close here. Now, what have we got here? We've got Pilsner Urquell. That's the other way around, isn't it? I've got to stream the river. Let's call Pilsner Urquell anyway. My supermarket is very, very close to where I am. There we go. Nice little old glass. I've done some shopping at the supermarket today. I was thinking I should do a video, really, shouldn't I? Shopping in a Romanian supermarket. It's quite fun until you come to the checkout, and I don't speak Romanian. Some of these Romanian people, they do look at you as if you're a bit of a dumb foreigner, I mean, the woman grabbed my bloody card off me, my credit card. Oh, come on, you can't do it. I'll do it for you. You shoved it in the bloody slot. That's tasty. Very nice. The reason I bought this is because I couldn't get Star Opera Man. It looks like it's in the same style of can, but the original Pilsner, brewed the original way. It's tasty anyway. Okay, where were we? Yours Travels, beer in a shot glass. That's the only one that I've got here. This is a lovely, lovely little studio apartment. It's little, but it's in a nice location, and it's got everything. It's got air con, it's got a bathroom and everything, but little things like that. Beer in a shot glass. It's all that I've got right now. Where were we? Let me see. So what was this now? Let me see. A lot of people can... Let me see. Okay, I think I've missed a chat somehow. El Terrifico, McLaren F1, Eddie, the YouTuber walking around Blackpool. No, it wasn't Baldwin, but definitely wasn't Baldwin Bangkok. There was a YouTuber I've never heard of before, but it looked pretty sad when he was showing about Blackpool. El Terrifico, Eddie's the highlight of the week. Okay, thanks for that, mate. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Nice to hear from you, El Terrifico. Mark Hollick, I'm worried about getting sick on a sea cruise. Those... Would you get... Yeah, but I think you'd only get seasick once, wouldn't you? It depends how long you're there. I think you would only get seasick once, and then once you've overcome that, wouldn't you become immune to it? I'd still love to travel on those big cruise ships. I really, really would. Don't be surprised if I make an announcement one of these days. For the first time ever, it's Eddie Takes to the Sea. I'd love them. I've seen those. There was a big Chewy one and others. And apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've seen all these wonderful, massive cruise liners out in the south on the south coast last year. They were there because of the the Antitrust problem, and they were just berthed out there. And somebody did say to me, do you know something? If you actually put the Titanic next to those cruise liners, the Titanic would probably look quite small next to these modern ones that we've got. Some of them really, really, really look like floating palaces. Wife's on the Martin Ryder. Wife's on the Queen Mary 2 in August. New York to Southampton, 7 nights. Let's see now. Let's see. Martin Ryder. Wife's on the Queen Mary 2 in August. New York to Southampton, 7 nights. £9.99. £1,000 flight. That sounds bloody good. That sounds wonderful. That sounds wonderful. Absolutely. JR, Thailand gets boring. It's not Thailand's fault, but it doesn't, unfortunately. Well, I was there for 4 months early this year, and that's the longest period of time I've actually spent in that one country, because usually I go to other countries as well. But I travel around a variety of places, and I must admit, after 4 months I got bored. I could have stayed there for a bit longer, renewed my visa, but I thought, no, 4 months of 4 months of this and a bit of that, whatever, a bit of the rumpy pumpy and all that kind of stuff. I think that's about enough for me. Bernard Purcell, did you see down the mountain? It's down. It's down YouTube. I don't know about that. I tell you what. I did mean to mention this about this. Now, a lot of people. My YouTube channel's been going for 5 years now, but it was only about 4 years ago that I started making videos that people wanted to watch. And I know I was a bit naughty in the early days, going on about the price for rumpy pumpy and all the rest of it. I was like, a bit near the knuckle. But the fact is that my YouTube channel has now got to 42,000 subscribers, and it's on about 12.5 million views right now. Not far 12. So that's a fair bit. I'm not saying that I become squeaky clean. I'm not squeaky clean, but I can't risk. You must understand. Sometimes I can't risk showing repeated shots of go-go dancers. I could walk around Bucharest, and I've got some nice little shots on my phone of some of these lovely go-go dancers in the thongs and the basques and all of that. But I can't really show them because YouTube has become very, very strict now, and they are taking channels down. Over a period of time, they are monitoring channels. They are monitoring channels that are being monetized. And they're looking at these channels and they're thinking, he's near enough. And channels do get taken down by YouTube simply because they get to the point when they decide this is not advertiser friendly. And like I said, I've worked hard for my YouTube channel over the years. I've got up to a decent level. I think the guy that you just mentioned a moment ago, if it's the one that I'm thinking of, he had his channel taken down before because of nightlife videos. And then he had to rebuild his channel again. I don't want to go through the stage where this channel gets taken down and I have to rebuild it. So that's why I have to be very, very careful right now. You must understand that. Red Planet. Okay, Romanian is boring. Okay, absolutely. Life too short to be dealing with overweight feminists. Mark Hanley. Anyone retiring in Thailand needs their napper checking. It's not a phrase that I use much, but thanks for that anyway. Catback, if you don't move to Thailand, would you consider another Southeast Asian country to live in? It's hard to say really. Cambodia's a great little country, but I need to rediscover that place. I haven't been there for a few years now. I used to know that place very, very well. The Philippines is a wonderful place. I don't know. I couldn't see myself living, retiring anywhere other than Thailand, to be honest with you. JR, you need 4 seasons in your life, okay? Caretaker, only boring people get bored. Okay, speak for yourself, mate. Cats and good coffee. Cats and good coffee. Bernard Purcell. Hey, any idea what the channel got closed? Who are we talking about? A nomad overseas, yeah, if living in holiday mode when staying long term, it won't pan out unless you won the lotto or something. Going out every night, you'll be broke fairly sharp, absolutely. Catback 79. Where would you live in Thailand? Well, that's another issue. That is that exactly where would that where? I mean, the obvious place for me to live would be to live in somewhere like Pattaya because it's a place I know well. I wouldn't mind living in Bangkok, but that's a lot more expensive. Pattaya would be reasonably priced and all that. But then you've got to ask yourself, if I retired out in Pattaya, you know, rented a nice little condo and got everything sorted and all that kind of stuff, what would I do then? How about this YouTube channel? Would I then become another Pattaya vlogger? I don't think YouTube needs another Pattaya vlogger. I think that place has been done to death anyway. And as for all those other places, you know, Koh Samui, and I don't really think they're for me, really. Daniel Kelly, a lot of people can't take 6 months off and go back to the same job. Absolutely, you've got to discipline yourself with work. Really, I mean, you've got to be self-employed really to do that. But the idea of working, what I've done in the past, in 6 months work, I probably put, I probably work 1.5 times the amount of hours that most people do, you know, each week. Okay, let me see. Kipax, it's middle ground for me. I've got everything that you need without the madness of a tire, and it's cheaper all around. Kipax is middle ground for me and got everything that you need without the madness of a tire. It's cheap. I'm not quite sure what you're talking about there, mate. Bernard Purcell, they just took it down. Whose channel are you talking about? Whose channel? Spicy Roads, could you describe the most perfect travel town in third? Spicy Road, could you describe the most perfect travel town in 30? It probably would be Pattaya. It probably would. I mean, you know, because Pattaya's got everything. But Pattaya is not a nice. Pattaya is a beach resort. I've been going there for years. I've never swam on the beach. Never once. I've not even dipped my toe in the water in Pattaya because it doesn't have a good reputation. But all the other things, it's a great fun place. I think Pattaya is a place to go to sporadically. I was thinking Pattaya, like Blackpool in a way. It's like a giant Christmas pudding. You know, it looks great, it smells great. You're hungry for it. You can't wait to sink your teeth into it. But you eat too much of it, and then you get pig sick, and you never want to see it again for a very long time. That's Pattaya. That's Pattaya. Okay, I'm gonna skip forward in the chat here. Somebody's given me a very nice super chat. Who is this? Let me have a little look now here. Apologies if I've really apologies if I've fallen behind the chat and missed people out. Mark Oleg, wow, $175, Mark. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. That is so kind of you, mate. Eddie, I know this goes to good use. We'll also buy 2 or 3 bottle of the UK's Brownmaster Snake Venom beer. Home on the range where the deer and the antelope play. Mark, that is really kind of you. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Okay, so well, that's a nice super chat. That's cheered me up. Thanks, mate. Anyway, let's have a little wander. If I've missed anybody out in the chat here, a big apologies. A big apologies. Let me see. Okay, I'm just going to skip through this. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to go to Joe. They will probably give you a free cruise if you post daily videos. I've been on 10 plus, a lot of them. You should try one. Okay, you never know. Kipax, you'd be dead in a few years drinking like you do if you moved to Thailand. Definitely need something else to do. Open a small business. Yeah, I would have to work. If I went abroad, I would have to work. But I'm not really sure what I'd work as. I mean, I couldn't be one of those digital nomad. And also, I think the way things are going with Thailand, it's become very restrictive. You go out there, even it's getting the place. Even if you have a thriving YouTube channel, before long, you're going to need a work permit. So it's far more complicated than it seems. Mike, 12.5 million views. You are now a famous YouTuber. Well, it's a good little record. You know, it's a good little record. Daniel Kelly and the hotel in Pattaya shot up. Really? See, that's terrible. If the hotel prices in Thailand start going up, I done a video early this year, and I hold to it that the one thing in Thailand which makes it a great value country is the cost of accommodation. It is far better value there than it is in other countries. If the hotel prices start shooting up, well, things have gone pear-shaped. Catback, are you glad you spent some time in Romania? I've had a lot of highlights in Romania. Had those Transylvanian towns I went to, Brasov and Sibiu, they were lovely, they were. The Black Sea coast was, not so. But Bucharest is a good city. There's a lot of good things here, so yeah, I'm glad that I come here. Cy London, hit the like button. Okay, cheers, mate, cheers. Paul Huey, getting a cruise could be the cheapest way of getting to Thailand with the price of flights. Yeah, possible. Shaggy Ronchus, is Romania good for mongering? It's not really good for no, it isn't, because the Romanian women are beautiful, but when they went into the EU, a lot of those lovely Romanian ladies, the ones who were suitable for mongering, a lot of them probably thought, why make less money here when I can make more money in Amsterdam or Paris? Cats and Good Coffee, 300 people watching. Okay, thanks for that. Yours Travels, Dan the man was using an old phone, then logged in when he came back to UK, then used the old phone again and saw his location, but I don't know about that. I believe that chappie, he's probably a very, very good YouTuber. I've seen some of his videos, but I think he did have his channel taken down once before because of because of the nightlife videos. So you've got to be careful. There's other people that are having the channels taken down at a drop of a hat. You've got to be careful. YouTube's very, very, you just got to be careful. Paul has just cracked open a bottle of Peroni. Cheers, Ed. Cheers, mate, anyway. The Equalizer, better off later next year in Philippines. I should extend you up to 3 years and can take a trip to Hong Kong and back again. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's interesting. Kipax, you could do more YouTube, sell t-shirts, cups, lube, butt plugs, etc. on your own website, making a few bob out of it if you move to Thailand. Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Let me tell you something. What was interesting, when I didn't go back to work when I left Thailand, I came between arriving back in the UK and leaving for Romania. I was back in the UK for 7 weeks. 7 weeks, and they were 7 laziest weeks that I've spent for a very, very long time. But I did a lot of thinking, and personally, my own personal opinion, if I could make a full-time living from the internet, which means, working from home, being on the internet all the time, I'm not sure that would suit me, because I need an excuse to get out of the house. I'm not someone who could sit at a laptop or a computer screen all day long. I just couldn't do that. I'd rather have it, go out of the house, go to work. The idea of, getting a shower and getting ready and going to work, for even if it's only for a few hours and then coming home again, that's more natural to me, because I've done that, all my adult life, really, but most part of it. The idea of going to work, doing your work wherever it is, and then coming home again, that's natural to me, because when you come home, at the end of a day, you feel I've been to work and now I can relax and whatever. The idea of staying at home all the time, working on a laptop, that wouldn't suit me. It just wouldn't suit me. Let me see. Santorini, going to do Siam Reap in January. I think it's great. Siam Reap's a really great little town, lovely little town, and I hope everything's back together again. I hope we don't have any more of this, this anti-Irish rubbish. Anyway, it'd be nice to see that place. Kipax, get little Eddie on OnlyFans. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Gemini Star, cruise passengers will not be too pleased with somebody. Cruise passengers will not be too pleased with somebody filming them. Yeah, that is that. You're dead right there, mate. Catback 79. Is it difficult to get a retirement visa in Thailand? Yes, it is difficult. It is, because there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of red tape involved, and it's it's retirement. There's a lot of red tape. I mean, it's too complicated to discuss it right here, but it's not as if some people think you can just go and book it off to another country. There's a lot to it, really. Faraway John lived in Thailand for 18 years, but the visa runs were essential to discover everywhere else. Okay, thank you. Frank Travels, don't retire in Pattaya, okay? I'm drinking beer out of a shot glass. There aren't any proper glasses in this hotel room. Gary, Ed, how much did your supermarket beer cost? Oh, I can't remember. That's about a quid. That's 500 millilitres. It's about a quid. Yeah, Gaz77, category got Susan Boyler's doing great. I wore her dress to yeah. Gaz, in case anyone doesn't know, was married to Susan Boyle, and he likes dressing up as a woman and going to Asda, filling up his trolley with hundreds of pounds worth of goodies, and then running off with it, and so he has a good lifestyle. Caretaker, more Pattaya vloggers than tourists these days. They all vlog each other. I mean, some of them are really good, but I wouldn't want to become another Pattaya vlogger. I certainly wouldn't. I mean, you really, it's. I mean, how many more walks along Soiba Cow? How many walks along LK Metro or Beach Road? And plus the fact Thailand is becoming very, very hostile to YouTubers. In the olden days, I would get a bear back to my hotel room years ago in Thailand, long before I was on YouTube. And if I wanted to take a photograph of her, or even a little video, even a little naughty video with it, it was not a problem. The girls, they were always a good laugh, and they were all game for anything. Nowadays, if you point a camera at a girl, she naturally assumes that she's going to be on YouTube or some other form of social media. Social media has made people very, very wary about all of this. Simon and Siam, Rayon would be a good place to retire, not far from Pattaya, for dirty fun when it takes you effect. I've never been to Rayon, never made it to that one. Catback 79. No, it's easy to get a retirement visa if you go to an agent when in Thailand, okay? Kipax. You could just travel around Thailand, let your viewers pick a new location each month. Do you know something? The travelling that I've done around Thailand earlier this year, it was fun and it was events, but I don't think I'll be doing too much of that in future. Now that the other countries, Cambodia, Philippines, now that they're open again, it's easy to get from Thailand to other countries. I think in Thailand, I really think in future, the only two places I'll be going will be Bangkok and Pattaya, because both of those places are very close to the airport. So it's not really a problem. all of those, I don't get me wrong, I love those islands of, Koh Tao and whatever. They were really, really beautiful. But I don't think I'll be doing that kind of travel again. I've been there and done that. Okay, Mark Alec, thanks once again for that super chat. That's really, really kind of you, mate. I hope all's well anyway. Daniel Peters, just use it as a base and travel around. Yeah, this is it, Daniel Peters. Just use it as a base and travel around. But I think with retirement, you either are or you aren't. And the idea, it's been said before, using it as a base and travel around. I could do that now because I'm 60 years of age and I can walk long distances, not a problem. How about in 10 years' time? In 10 years' time, I might not be physically capable of traveling around so easy, or I may not have the energy to travel around so easy. So it's really, if you're retired, and to me, I still think it means finding a one place where you're going to stay for the rest of your life. I know others will disagree with that. Jeff Traveller, good point. If you lived there, you wouldn't have looking forward to go to Thailand to look at you wouldn't have looking forward to go to Thailand to look forward to. The anticipation of the holiday is often the best part. I know, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You are dead right. Like I say, those people who I've known over the years who've said to me, "Why don't you just go and live in Thailand?" A lot of those people would like me going to live in Thailand, because a lot of those people who say things like that, they're people who don't really go anywhere worth mentioning, and sometimes they can be a little bit jealous of somebody who goes there. Travel for 6 months a year. Kipax, that's because you're 20 minutes behind us all. Okay. Daniel Kelly, rent a nice condo and do your traveling after a while, then come back to your condo. Better than going back to UK. Okay. And nomads overseas. That's why I like Bangkok Pat's channel. He doesn't do the usual manga style drudgery. He makes good informative videos. Yeah, I like Bangkok. Yeah, I like his videos as well. I do like his videos as well. Paul Smith, go Eddie. Time is not on your side. Why be lonely and bitter and cold in England? Let me just say that the work that I do for 6 months a year in England, and I haven't worked for the last 6 months or so right now, obviously. But the work that I do in England is not really that difficult. It gets me out of the house. It puts money in my pocket. And at the end of the day, I did say this before. I'm going to repeat myself now. But if I ever get to the stage in years and years to come when I'm on my deathbed, as we all will end up, and I think, well, for years and years I've worked 6 months and I've travelled for 6 months. I've done that for years and years and years, but I never actually fulfilled the dream in going to live in the land of smiles or Cambodia on a full-time basis. Do you think I feel disappointed? I think no, I've had not a bad life. It's not a bad life where I live. It's not, it's not perfect. I wouldn't for 1 minute try and strive for the perfect life. But it's not bad either. Think about it. It's not that bad. Paul said, just jump from one line to another. Tenerife to Romania. Evening steady. Tenerife gets a lot of views because but it's not the same people who watch this channel. Martin Ryder, Pattaya will be bad for your health if you live there full time. Yeah, good point. You'd really have to be disciplined with the alcohol, wouldn't you? You would, but it's not just Pattaya, it's other expats. It's expats. I've met the expats in Turkey, and like I said before, once they go beyond the stage of, they go beyond that stage of seeing all the excitement stuff, and they just end up congregating around these horrible little expat bars, and they're there of a daytime and of a night time and whatever, and they're drinking 14 pints of ale a day. Okay, Frank Travels, nothing wrong with Blackpool, Ed. I don't think there's anything right with her either. Mark Ollick, we all love and support Eddie. Okay, thank you, Mark. I really, really appreciate that. Really appreciate that, mate. Good for you, mate. Equaliser. Equaliser. Ty will get more and more experience and attitudes will be changing on this and see the benefit of the Philippines with a 3-year extension. I've been to the Philippines twice, and I liked it a lot better the second time I went there. But it's not a country which I still feel I'm really, really used to. I'd go there again, but I don't think retiring in the Philippines, I'm not really sure that's for me. Marie Hazel, Eddie, love the vlogs no matter the location. Thanks, mate, anyway. Paul Scarf, that guy come back and nicked the toilet sign. Okay. Catback 77, what is the best Romanian beer you had on your trip? That Bergen beer, I think, was that a Romanian beer? The one that I had at that beach bar, that was lovely, that, beautiful. That was the best cold beer that I've had. Life of Razor, going to Malta next week, Eddie. Good for you, mate. Good for you. Malta, I've never been to Malta. I'm sure it's a nice place. Eugene Vincent, have you considered Eastbourne, Ed? Retiring, I mean, that really well and truly is God's way. Do you know, years and years ago, about 30 years ago, I lived in various seaside resorts. You know, I was trying to find a meaning to life and trying to find the right place to live. And I did actually live in Brighton for about 18 months in the early 90s. And Brighton's a very, very good, tons of character. London, by the sea, tons of character in Brighton. It's a good town, Brighton. But, you know, I met some, you know, people who come from the same city as me. I'm surprised how many of them told me about Eastbourne. You want to go to Eastbourne? Eastbourne's a cool place. You know, it's a really, really good place, Eastbourne. So I got on the bus in Brighton one afternoon, and I went to Eastbourne. I got the bus from Brighton to Eastbourne, yes, on an afternoon. And I stepped off the bus and had a look around the town of Eastbourne on a sunny day. And honestly, I actually felt that I'd stepped into the twilight zone. Everywhere, the people there were ancient. Every shop that I went in, they were like 18, 90 years of age. They had a bit of a pier there. I went onto the pier and there was all these ancient people dancing to ballroom music and I've never seen so many old people in one place as in Eastbourne. I was told that this is a trendy, it didn't look bloody trendy to me. It looks like God's waiting room. That's the way it looked to me. Mark Hanley, don't open a bar, Ed. Well, like I said, I wouldn't open a bar. I would consider that would not be fun. That would not be a fun lifestyle. In the when it's rocking and rolling and you know you're earning the money, fine. But during the low season, I wouldn't like to be standing outside the bar of an evening time thinking where are all the people and why aren't they coming into my bar? No, I don't think I'd enjoy that. Chris Bay, evening Eddie, I kind of retired at 50 and since then spent 6 months in UK, 3 months in Spain and 3 months in Southeast Asia every year. It's about right for me. Good for you, mate. Good for you. Sounds good to me. Sounds good. Mike, I could give out flies now. I'm not going to go down that road. Kev, 12364. If you're down on your luck and retired, it can be very dangerous for your health. You know, I like it. Like I say, if I actually lived abroad, I would want everything to be absolutely spot on. I wouldn't like to think that 10 years time, I'm deliberately counting the pennies. You know, I wouldn't like to be doing that. I'd like to be retired and comfortably. Non-Kai Sabi, you could live in retired and travel there. Is that Chris B? Yeah, Chris B. Paul Smith, Chris B, we were all mad with envy. I'm mad with it. It sounds bloody good to me as well. KC, do you rent in Spain for 3 months? Oh, he's talking to Chris B there. Martin Ryder, I have to say Romania looks pretty boring for a season manga. I actually came, but I didn't come here to manga. I actually come to Romania because I'd never been there before. I thought it's going to be a nice culture and it's going to be a lot of nice places to visit. And it is. It's not a rocket to the moon, but it's been good. I've enjoyed it here. I've enjoyed it. Still more videos to come. Category Coffee. Is any of you watching the series The Old Man? It's like Jason Bourne with Jeff Bridges. Good stuff. Perfect show for member. But that sounds interesting. Oh, well, is that on Netflix, is it? Kane, open a bar in Pattaya that serves pork pies and speckled ham. I think that'll go down well. Have you ever tried getting any real ales in Pattaya though? It's bloody expensive. Even cider, Magnus cider. A lot of those English pubs, and there's not many of them left, is there, in Pattaya? But they are expensive. If you want a pint of, Guinness or whatever, you're going to pay a lot of money for it. A lot more than you would in England. Let's see. Catback 79. You could do the trifecta method, staying in 3 Southeast Asian countries for 4 months a year in each place. No, I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I want to do that. I think sooner or later I'd want to get back to. I did say a while ago that for 6 months I do like the idea of. I actually like work. I like work. Believe it or not, I actually like going out as long as it's not strenuous, not too strenuous for me. I like going to work and earning a bit of money and then coming home again. I like doing that. And then when the time is right, when the autumn comes and the nights are drawing in and you see the onslaught of winter, that's when I get on an airplane and get the hell out of it. Come on, it's not a bad lifestyle. I don't have that bad a lifestyle. Catback 79, perfect name for the bar, Steady Eddie's. Mark Ollick, I did watch Memory with Liam Neeson. Which one is Memory? I'll tell you what I do know about Liam Neeson. That man rallied in later years, didn't he? And he was in a lot of good films. A lot of good films, as well as the Taken movies. He was in a lot of very, very good movies later on in life. I'm not sure that I've seen Memory. Daniel Kelly, hotel I stayed in back in March is more than double now for same room. Really? Really? That's not good. Let's hope the hotels don't go up in price. Martin Ryder, Canterbury will be perfect. I don't know that place. Canterbury. Where? I'm not too sure where that is. Gemini Star, Pattaya Beach is full of sewage. If you lived in Pattaya, there's a couple of islands which are not that far away. Well, Koh Chang is a fair trek, but it's not exactly. You're still talking quite a few hours to get there. But Koh Chang is a good island. But Koh Samet is a very nice island to visit. I've swam in Koh Samet. I've swam in Koh Chang. I wouldn't swim in Pattaya. Kipax, pub crawls with Eddie in Pattaya could be a small business idea. Okay, fine. Ex-Tommy Robinson followers. Eddie should avoid Asia and do more trips in Europe and proper tourism rather than manga places in Asia. Try Portugal, Bosnia, Istanbul, Naples, Malta and southern Spain. Okay? I'd probably like a lot of those places, but they wouldn't go down well on this channel. Martin Ryder, it's a party town. Canterbury. I'm not quite sure. I actually can't place where that is. Paul Harrison, Ed, retired to Beach Road at Pattaya and owned a coffee shop. Sounds bloody boring. Ernest Connell, Steady Eddie views at a higher class of mongers. Thanks for that, mate. Daniel Peters, when we went, everywhere was ready to close 10 p.m. Well, that was early this year. If you're talking about Pattaya, I mean, whenever everything was closing, I mean, let's just hope that that's all. a thing in the past. I wouldn't entirely rule out the Antilles making a comeback. I seen a news report today that it's on the rise again in England. So the bogeyman he's still out there somewhere. Bottle Baby, Pattaya makes a good base for jumping off. It does, yeah, absolutely. Because you can get to the airport in 1.5 hours. HW, it looks like you would be a really good food reviewer. I've still got a couple of food reviews to come from Romania. Mark Holland, get a desktop. A desktop. I had a desktop, but a laptop now. It's so easy to travel. Computers are wonderful. They're wonderful now, aren't they? I mean, the fact is, if you have a decent suitcase, then the idea of bunging your laptop in a suitcase, it's just so easy now. Computers are just wonderful nowadays. Gaz77, I don't like the word work. I start feeling sick when someone mentions the word work. Okay, well, good for you, mate. Kev, it's sad, but many foreigners have joined the Pattaya Flying Club. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is something to consider, isn't it? And no matter overseas, you could go to a shared workspace if you're doing online work. I wouldn't recommend it though, okay? The Equalizer, you can make a living from travel and putting up your down-to-earth views on places. You could make a mint because you can save others a lot of money in your perception of the place. Yeah, but like I said a moment, I'm just not somebody who could devote full time to an internet job and sitting down at a desk and the idea of actually working from home full time. I don't think I could do that. I still like to, even for a few. I like to leave home and go to work, and do that for a few hours or 6 hours or whatever, and then come home again. I like the idea of going to work and coming home from work. And when you're coming home from work, it's great because then you have your meal, you sit down, you're catching the TV. Maybe if you got the energy, do a few other things. I just couldn't stay all day in front of a computer. Mark Oleg, or what we call a tower system. Yeah, I had one of those. I think that's about 20 years ago now. I had a good PC with a tower system, but I don't know, the laptops are just so much better nowadays, so much more portable. Martin Ryder, Etty, retire to Soy Honey and open a refuge for fallen bar girls. Great idea. Now that's got to be the innovative idea of the night, that is. Nick T, Indonesia is well worth a visit. I spent most of 2019 there and mongering opportunities plenty. The only place in Indonesia I've been to was Bali and I didn't like it, but I think I went in the rainy season and I didn't probably see it as the best. I've heard that I wouldn't mind trying Indonesia, but I mean it's not a country that I know really. I'd like to visit it. Yours travels. There are hundreds of cruise vloggers. Passengers are fine. Santorini, Ed, is Koh Chang worth a week? Yeah, Koh Chang's a good place. I've been to Koh Chang. I think that was my 4th visit early this year, and I liked it. I'd say the most well-known place in Koh Chang is one that I'm not too keen on. It's that white sand beach. It's a bit expensive, and I didn't feel the beach. I don't think it was really that charming, really. There are better places. I like Lonely Beach, beautiful beach there. I know there's a lot of young backpackers there, but I liked it. They had a really good rock bar there, which I really enjoyed. But when I was in Koh Chang early this year, I stayed for 9 days in Kai Bay, and it was very quiet, obviously because of the pandemic. Very, very quiet, but the beach is beautiful, and I really liked it. I thought to myself, when things are back together and there's plenty of people, and when all the bars are rocking and rolling, I'd like to visit that place again, that Kai Bay, when it's back to normal I mean, yeah, Koh Chang's good island, well worth a visit. Gaz 7-7, I retired at 16 when I left school. I mean, didn't you even have a paper round? Did you never even have a paper round when you were a kid? Kipax, just drink out of the can, okay? Scrotty and more. I think he's sort of talking here about Koh Chang for 1 week, yes, not more. I don't know, I like Koh Chang. Man, Ed, you need to stop drinking so much. That's all you do on here is get plastered, okay? And on that note, I'll show you something else I bought from the supermarket today. Jagermeister. Now I know that this is back to front, this right, you know this image. Apologies for that. A nice bottle of Jagermeister, selected 56 botanicals, cold macerated elixir matured in oak since 1878. It's not something I normally buy, but this Jagermeister, it's a 70 cl bottle, yes, and it's about 59 lei, which is about it's about a tenner in English money. It's about £10, £10 in English money, which is about 13 US dollars, and this is for the 70 cl bottle. So I'll be tucking into that very very soon. That people who said that I get plastered, thanks for reminding me of that. Okay. Let me see now. Let me see now. Let me see now. Let me see now. Martin Wright, the Weatherspoons 199 pints can't beat it. Sean the Pro, nice to hear from you, mate. Hi Eddie, what's your tipple today? Have you ever thought any more about Cambodia and the Philippines? Yeah, quite a lot. I've thought quite a lot. The reason I didn't go to them last time is because I was quite settled in Thailand, and I didn't want to border hop. I was trying to avoid all those bloody PCR tests. That's the problem. But on my next journey to Asia, Cambodia, maybe Philippines, but definitely Cambodia will be on the menu. Can't wait. That's interesting. Ting Tong Thai. I had just helped my Thai girlfriend open up her first nail shop in Pattaya. Opened 3 months shop, doing great. She's now got 4 ladies working with her. Only cost me 3,000 to set up and get her the shop. Good for you, mate. Good for you. Good for you. Kipax booked a week in White Sands. And that's after I've just slagged the place down. You might like it. A lot of people like White Sands. There's girly bars there in White Sands Beach in Koh Chang. But personally, why I didn't like White Sands Beach, that when you walk along that high street, and you see the 7-Eleven, you see a council building, whatever, it doesn't feel like you're on an island. There's something about that place that feels a bit bland. It doesn't really feel like you're on an island. You go to Kai Bay, and that does feel like you're on an island, and that's why I prefer that place. Mark Alec, I like his Ray-Bans. Good for you, mate. Ting Tong Tai. Hopefully I'll be moving to Pattaya in 2 years to retire and be with my lady. Oh, good for you, mate. Good for you. Bobby Crush. Formby Beach is much better than Koh Chang. Formby Beach is much better than Koh. No, I don't think it is really. I mean, Formby, I used to like going to places like that when I was a kid. And what really put me off that I stay. I don't really want to talk about this, okay? But I went swimming in Formby or Ainsdale Beach, one of them once, and I went swimming at a time when obviously a cruise ship is passed up the Irish Sea, and they'd emptied the toilet out into this. And I don't even want to bloody go there, mate. Horrible, disgusting. Kane, heads on the Jaeger top low. Jaeger will be empty by Monday. Wouldn't surprise me, mate. Wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to open that before this stream ends. Bernard Pearso, get you in the end, okay? Gemini Star, poor Eddie's reading out every. Well, why not? You know, it's a matter of courtesy. I mean, people want to put comments in there. I'll read them out. I mean, I've waffled on early on, so that's why I'm behind in the chat. And now, you know. I mean, I've said my piece on it. Retirement, it's not as easy. It's not as easy. I think basically it's retirement. My own personal outset, it's retirement abroad versus 6 months here, 6 months there. And somehow I still think, for me, 6 months here and 6 months there is doable. It's without the, and also you've got to take into account the national health as well. What happens if you fall sick and whatever? It will cost you a lot of money to buy your health insurance out there. Whereas here, I mean, well, in England, at least I'm registered with the NHS. Paul Huey, that bottle of Jagermeister brings back fond memory of a 4-day bender in Pattaya back in 205. It's not something I normally drink. Martin Ryder, Steph has left the stream. Elvis has left the building. Steph has left the stream. I think that's his name. Bobby Crush, say goodbye to that £3 grand. Are you talking? Oh, that's a bit sinister. Are you talking about the guy who helped his girlfriend out? And no, I think that's a bit cynical, that Bobby. Kickbacks. Oh well, all paid for. No, thanks. Listen, don't let me put you off anywhere. Just because I did it. A lot of people love White's at White Sand Beach. A lot of people love it, but it wasn't. It's just not personally for me. I preferred Kai Bay personally and Lonely Beach. But you know, you might like. You might like. What is it? What's it called? White Sands, a lot better than I did. Lee Butler, sorry Eddie, a bit late to the party here, but if you can live comfortably on $1,000 per calendar month in Chiang Mai or the like, then why not retire there? Okay, I'm glad you said that. I am glad you said that. Okay, I'm going to read it. So good. I'm going to read that comment out again. Lee Butler, sorry Eddie, bit late to the party here, but if you can live comfortably on $1,000 per calendar month in Chiang Mai or the like, then why not retire there? Do you live in Chiang Mai on $1,000 a month? Do you personally live there comfortably on $1,000 a month, or does someone else tell you? Because I've heard other vloggers saying that you can live for $1,000 a month. Live comfortably. No, you can't. No, you can't, man. You can't. It costs you a lot more than that. A lot. I mean, $1,000. Prices are rising in Thailand. $1,000 a month. That's not a lot of money. I think you'd need double that to live comfortably. That's my own personal opinion. I mean, if you don't drink, then you will save a lot of money. That's a big advantage of saving money if you don't drink, or you scrimp and save and you buy food at a local market and you eat at home, you know, a lot of the time. And if you don't like restaurants and you don't like going out bare, or you don't muck around with the ladies, then I suppose $1,000 a month is doable. But you're not really living. Let me just tell you, there are some very, very unrealistic people out there who will tell you that you can live in Thailand for $1,000 a month. No, you don't live there for a month. You exist on $1,000 a month. You do not live there, honestly. I mean, if you're personally there now, If you're talking about yourself, that you were in Chiang Mai and you live comfortably on $1,000 a month, then tell us more. I'm sure we'll all want to know, but I just don't think that's possible. Gaz77, I've got a bank balance of Gaz77. I've got a bank balance of let me see. Gaz77, I've got a bank balance of 6,387,000. No, it's not 6 million. Gaz77, I've got a bank balance of £638,752.29, and I haven't ever done a day's work in my life. Okay. Good for you, bank. I mean, let me just ask you. You know, when you robbed that bank, did you dress up as a woman, and did you wear a stocking over your head? You know, like they did in the old, Sweeney episodes when the bank robbers went in wearing a stocking over their head. Is that what you did? Okay, China, hand it over. What was that? One of the Sweeney movies. There was two Sweeney movies. The first Sweeney and the second Sweeney 2. I thought Sweeney 2 was a very, very underrated film. And it had that wonderful actor, Ken Hutchinson, in it. I'm not talking about the TV series now. I'm talking about the spin-off movies. It had that wonderful actor, Ken Hutchinson, a big, fierce, intimidating guy. He was in a lot of films years ago. He never became an established star. He used to have to play the villain in British movies, but he was a hell of an actor and a hell of a screen presence. But they were a gang of bank robbers, weren't they? And they lived out in Malta and just come back to England to do smash and grab raids, bank robberies and all that. But there's a fearsome scene when they rob a bank and Ken Hutchinson with his stocking over his head. He's in a bank and he's pointing his shotgun at the cashier and he says, "Okay, China, hand it over." Is that what you did, Gaz? Did you do that? Did you do that, you naughty boy? You very, very naughty boy. You're a very bad man. Okay. Mark Allen, I still also enjoy the opening theme to the 1970s NBC Sunday night movie. I don't know that one. I don't know. There's a lot of great. We could be all day. We go into the old, the classic theme tunes that you grew up with. A lot of those Randall and Hopkirk and all that other stuff. I loved all of that. Gordon Bennett, good evening, Ed. I see the Godfather movie is 50 years old this week. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful, absolutely amazing classic. I still think that the first Godfather movie was the better one. I know it's fashionable to say the second movie, Godfather 2, was the better film, but I still do. I don't think you can beat Marlon Brando, really. Simon and Siam, Kai Bay, retired there tomorrow if I could. Morgan Restaurant, very good for sport. Yeah, I went in there. Good place. Bobby Crush, no way had he bought a train ticket to Formby. He used a blag save away, okay? Gas 77, as the pay's well made. YouTube Vincent, Ed, I watched the Long Good Friday recently. Thoughts on Bob Hoskins? Bob Hoskins, wonderful actor, very, very, very charismatic, very, very good actor. Simple as that. Personally, I didn't think that The Long Good Friday was as good a film as what some other people have said, but a good movie. And Bob Hoskins, he played the perfect part as the crime boss. Let me see now. I also remember him in Pennies from Heaven. Do you remember that series, Pennies from Heaven? Was it 1978 that came out? That Dennis Potter series, it became a little bit notorious for lipstick on the nipples. Jesus Christ, it's amazing what you can do with some lipstick. Roderick Daniels, hi Ed, 60 next summer and always dreamed about retirement in Thailand, but the closer it gets, the more second thoughts I'm getting. Like you, always gone to work and come home at the end of the day. Yeah, I know that's the way I am, mate. That's the way I am. Good evening, Ed. You looking forward to getting Yogi Bear? Good evening, Ed. You looking forward to getting back home or getting out to Asia? Well, I've got a plane journey coming up in a few days' time, and I just hope that it all goes well. Kipax, if you're happy, Eddie, that's all that matters, mate. Okay, that's fine. Good comment. Paul Smith, Eugene Vincent, hats off to the late great Bob Hoskins. Our loss for not having more work of his. Yeah, he was a fine actor. Michael Mead, Mona Lisa was my favourite Bob Hoskins movie. I've seen that movie and I wasn't that keen on it, but maybe if I've seen it again. Gaz77, oh well, God almighty, no, we don't want to go there. Yours Travels, Steph's still here on one of his fake accounts. Nick Ross, you're back, great news, during the revolution. I'm not back, I'm still in Romania. I'm Nick Ross. I now live in Thailand, even though the rate of exchange is rubbish at the moment, but still your money goes a long way here and a much better way of life. Well, good for you, mate. Masokar, Machaki, why Thailand? Why not? Why not? Good place. Good place. Mark Olick, Eddie, come to the USA and visit Graceland. That's where Elvis lived. I was there and met his uncle Vesta in the 1970s. I wouldn't mind. I'd love to tour America. Maybe there's still things that I would like to do, and when the time is right, tour America and also go on a cruise ship. I'd like to do both of those things, but it's one of those things that I never really get around to. Kipax, Eddie ruined my holiday before I went. Oh, come on. It's just my own personal bit. I'm not a fan of White Sand Beach. I'm not a fan of White Sand Beach in Koh Chang, but you might like it. You might have a glowing report about the place. Sean the Prawn, Star Wars or Star Trek, Eddie? Star Wars or Star Trek? I like the Star Wars movies. I do like them. I like Star Trek as well. Star Trek is really, really good. To be honest with you, rather than both those, my own favourite sci-fi series was UFO. Very, very British series. And it actually goes back as far as, geez, I think it was actually made in 1968. But during the 1970s, it was repeated again and again and again. It had Ed Straker as, Ed Bishop, the American actor who played Ed Straker. All a beautiful lineup of lovely ladies, Gabriel, Drake, Wanda, Venom, absolutely wonderful. And those spaceships. My favourite was UFO, wonderful. Nick Ross, soon Thailand will be up in flames. You, John Rescone. Oh, that's a bit doomy and gloomy, isn't it? Mark Olick, it's a good theme by Henry Mancini. Am I right in thinking Henry Mancini? Didn't he do the Pink Panther theme? Yeah, absolutely. Lee Butler, no, I don't, mate. I'm in the UK. Kipax, it's not a good life on a grand a month. Yeah, in Thailand, no, I don't think that's a good life on a grand a month. Daniel Peters, White Sand, Koh Samet. Koh Samet or Koh Chang. White Sands is in Koh Chang. Yeah, Boo Hoo is here. Hello, Ed. Okay. Jeddah, 1,000 is just Jeddah, $1,000 is just a survival budget. Yeah, absolutely. There are some very, very unrealistic, people out there. Some people even live it. A lot of it does depend on whether you're a big drinker or not. If you're a big drinker, you got to spend a lot of money. If you don't drink at all, and you don't go to bars and whatever, then you'll save a lot of money. But is that really enjoying yourself? $1,000 or even £1,000 a month is not good. Mark Oleg, exist. Yeah, I think you would exist in Thailand on $1,000 a month. Lee Butler, okay, thanks Eddie, appreciate your words. Okay, Kipax, if you live like a local, it's doable. If you live like a local, but it's that much fun for the Westerner. Would you really want to do that? I stayed in a town called, was it called Chumpon? And that was very much a local town, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Yours travels. If you don't drink and eat at Thai restaurants and have a basic $300 room a month, then it's easy to achieve that at $1,000. And some of your Thailand rooms are being worse. Yeah, maybe, but if you don't drink, I do drink. I like me drink. Yogi Bear, that $1,000 is now only $900 with inflation running at 10%. Yeah, always take stuff like that into account. Lee Butler, so how much would you need in somewhere like Chiang Mai? $2,000 per month? That's more realistic. Yeah, that is more realistic. $2,000 a month is that's doable. That you would live a good life on $2,000 a month. But don't forget, there's also $2,000 a month. You've also got to consider: are you going to have a lady friend there? Are you going to get married or whatever? Because then you've got to pay for hair as well. Women don't come cheap. So then you're going in excess of $2,000. Paul Hoskin. Bobby Crust stayed in England and spent $3,200 a year on lecky and gas, or go to Thailand and live on $800 a month. Get the suitcase from the top of the wardrobe, okay? Daniel Kelly, Eddie, do you eat at home in UK and you drink at home in UK as we all do? Yeah, I do. I eat and drink it in UK. Occasionally I'll have a night out. I'll go for a night, but I don't rate the pubs in England. Very, very, very much. I don't have a local. I mean, I've never really had a local. I don't want a local. I find that boring. I mean, you go to your local and you do the same old stuff. And what's funny about this? Some of these people who know me back in the UK, they often say, how can you afford all that travel? They probably spend more money at their dingy local per year than what I spend on my travels. So, you can't have everything. I don't want to go to the bloody pub every year. It's boring, that is. Bobby Crush, I put a stocking over my head. My nan was fuming. She was getting dressed for bingo. Good for you. Paul Hoskin, I like wearing stockings. What, over your head or on your legs? Mark Oleg, The Sweeney, yeah. Great TV series from the 1970s. John Thorne and Dennis Waterman, perfectly cast, absolutely perfect. It was a really groundbreaking TV series because it came along in the mid-70s. When before that we'd had things like Z Cars and Softly, and they were more jam, but the Sweeney was, more raw edge. And then they made a couple of very good movies after that as well. Very good movies. Sweeney's one of the best TV series ever. Okay, let me see. Category coffee, thank you. Mark Oleg, and it over. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I've done that one anyway. But yeah, I'll tell you what, those two Sweeney movies, the spin-offs from the TV series, the first one was a good movie. It was a good movie. It sort of tried to make Inspector Regan out to be a bit of a English Dirty Harry. So it wasn't perfect. But I actually thought the second Sweeney movie, Sweeney 2, was one of the most underrated British crime films ever, really. It benefited from having people like Ken Hutchinson in it. Excellent movie. Martin Blunsden, about 1,500 a month works for me. Not too many go-go girls. They love money. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's more realistic. Scotty and Moore, you can live with $1,000. It's 35,000 baht. 35,000 baht. Well, that's about that's just over 1,000 baht a day, isn't it? 1,000 baht a day is not a lot of money in Thailand. It really isn't. I mean, I suppose it's doable, but it's not really. Kipax, how about a song? I'm in a hotel room, and it's about midnight here in Romania, so afraid not. Coco Road, I have a bank balance of 38 pence, but I have 8 Orangi Boom and a bottle of Frosty Jacks in the fridge, so life is good. Oh, good for you, mate. Always look on the bright side of life. Tintin, so what's the magic cash number for retirement? It's the question no one can answer. I actually think that you know, the magic cash number, for you know, so for the single bloke who goes to live in Thailand, I actually think it's £2,000 a month. I think that's it. I mean, maybe $2,000, maybe between $2,000 and £2,000. But then, if you want to get into a relationship, you know, you know that woman, she's going to want some money from you, one way or the other, or their family will want money from you. So you know, women don't come cheap. Santorini, Eddie, what's the best way of getting to Chang from Bangkok? I hear you can fly to Trat. Maybe that's yeah, you can fly to Trat. Well, I've never been to Chang from Bangkok. I've always done it from Pattaya. Pattaya by road. There are actually videos on my list. From Pattaya, you can get a mini bus, or you could get a taxi, which will cost you a lot more money, of course. But you can get a mini bus, a whole ticket, which involves the bus and the ferry. It's not really that expensive. Bobby Crush, I'm moving up north now. Rent a house for 60,000 baht a year. Grow my own veg, fruit, and weed, and buy my own moped to explore. Daniel Kelly, 40 grand in the bank and 200 a month state pension, no problem. Okay, fine. Paul Scott, Tintin, reckon you need a good 3k £3,000 per month in a bank to be comfortable. Lewis C, Tintin, depends how much you drink and how many ladies you have. YouTube, is Bangkok good to retire if all you want to do is manga? Well, providing you can afford it, yeah. I mean, you know, women don't come cheap though, do they? You know, so maybe you can afford it. It probably is a good place. Cowboy Vic episodes, nice to hear from you. Boohoo, 300,000 USA invested property should pay enough money monthly to live comfortably anywhere. Paul Smith, what happens in the event of health emergency? Will the fourth get covered? I haven't really looked that much into healthcare simply because I haven't crossed that bridge just yet. But you know, if you want fully comprehensive healthcare living in Thailand, it's not that cheap. I know there are some people will tell you that you can get it reasonably priced, but I've heard of other people spending thousands of pounds on it. It's Nick Ross, Thought you would come back. I just turned down a job in Thailand. It's not a place to retire to for many reasons. Okay, thank you. Paul Scarth, can't believe I had to rack my brain to who was Bob Hoskins was. For the moment I thought it was Spectre Dogfell. Don't mention him, Bob Carroll's. Don't mention him. Do you know what? When I was in my 20s, I grew a moustache. I had sort of longer hair and I grew a moustache. And people used to always bloody say that I looked like him, Bob Carroll's. So I used to hate that. You know, some of them, they couldn't always remember his name. But some people would see me, girls would see me and they would say, you know, you look like, what's his name? That guy who does Spit the Dog, you know, Spit the Dog. Bobby Crush, more than grow what you want, have barbecues, etc. I was looking at a house near Pai earlier that even had its own swimming pool for 6,000 baht a month. Oh, Jesus, that's good, isn't it? That's good. I'll tell you what I wouldn't mind doing on my next travel adventure. I think I'll actually, I like the idea of staying in certain places for longer periods of time, but I've never actually stayed for a whole month in a condo in Pattaya. I've done it I've stayed in a hotel for a whole month on a good rate, but not in a condo. So I think it'd be nice to check out some condos next time. Maybe stay a month here, a month there, whatever. Michael Powell, hello, I've just been Oscars 104 Street. Cambodia is open. I love Oscars. That's that bar at the end of 104 Street where they have a live band and they have some lovely, lovely girls there. And Oscars is great. One of my favourite bars. Well, probably my favourite bar in Phnom Penh. Okay, so I'm going to give this a shot. I've got another glass here, a clean one anyway. So, big moment. Here we go, big moment. The opening. This is the grand opening. The grand opening. Okay, here we go. 70cl bottle of Jagermeister. About 10 quid from that supermarket down the road. Here we go. Okay. Cheers. Jagermeister, gentlemen. So, let me smell. It smells like, what does it smell? It smells like medicine, doesn't it? Medicine. Nick Ross, Indonesia would be the place, but long-term visa the problem these days. John 4000, nice to hear from him. Eddie, I've noticed from my mates who live there, as soon as they get ill, they flee back to the UK as they can't afford the medical costs. Thailand fine as long as you're healthy. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's worth considering that. It's probably not as cheap as you think to get full medical coverage in Thailand. Tasty. What does that taste like? Quite a distinctive taste there. Jagermeister. Nice. Sean the Prom, would you ever travel back to Romania, Eddie, or is it just somewhere to tick off the destination list? Too early to say, but I've actually had a good time here. It's very, very relaxed. I love those Transylvanian towns that I was in. Nice place. I don't know, too early to say. Cowboy Vic episodes. Are you old enough to remember Land of the Giants, Ed? I do remember that. I can't, not vividly, but I did used to watch it many, many years ago. Mark Ollick, Twilight Zone and Outer Limits, wonderful, absolutely. Twilight Zone, obviously everyone knows the Twilight Zone. Is the Outer Limits, is that the one where they started off on a big roller coaster? Was that the Outer Limits? Great series, wonderful, absolutely amazing. Gemini Star, well said, Eddie. Exist only, definitely don't include mongering costs. Bottle Baby, cruise ship visa, visa. That'd be wonderful. I'd like that. I think I'd like that. Nick Ross, he's talking about what Thailand was like in 1972. The US Army was still there, and there was only the Pong Pak Pong. It was humming, no night market garbage. The girls were better looking than today, and it was mega fun. And probably didn't have tattoos in them days either. Chaz Brown, amazing thing about UFO was it was made around 1968, but set in 1980, only 12 years later. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a wonderful program. Now it was tacky. I mean, Ed Straker's car was this super futuristic car, and really, that what I had, it was actually a Ford Cortina. It was just sort of tarted up, really. But I love that series, absolutely lovely. Gaz77, Susan Boyle turns me on. Each to their own, mate. Heath Robin, I'll join you out to Graceland. I wouldn't mind to. I wouldn't mind that. Eugene Vincent, did you like Julie Newmar? Oh, Catwoman, beautiful, lovely. Oh, Julie Newmar, gorgeous. Catwoman. Nick Ross, now everyone goes there looking for the past. One night in Bangkok, etc. Martin Ryder, you can buy a house in Bulgaria for $20,000. Sorry, £20,000. Yeah, you can quite possibly. I mean, well, funnily enough, Bulgaria became the place, didn't it? Years ago, when people had money in their pockets, and the end thing was to buy a property abroad, place in the sun, all that kind of stuff. Bulgaria became known as the place for cheap property, but it didn't really become known as anything else, really. I mean, Bulgaria, I've been to Bulgaria, there's a lot of nice places there. But what I found about Bulgaria, I know this was before it was in the EU, I don't know what the rules are now, but I went there about 20 years ago, not far off 20 years ago, and what I found is that you can buy a house there, but you can't buy the land that it's on. And I didn't like the idea of that. I was told what you can do is you can set up a private company and all this kind of stuff. No, not at all. Whereas in Turkey, all the properties there, they were all freehold. You can buy you can buy your property outright. So that's why I bought a place in Turkey instead. But no, I wouldn't be interested in any of that now. Scrotty and more, Bangkok now, Miami hotel, brand new and cheap. Good for you, mate. That's nice. That Jagermeister is nice. Cats and good coffee. I'm an old man. I go to bed. Good night, gentlemen. Well, what is it? It's about 10 o'clock on a Saturday night in England. No, good night anyway. Nice for you to come along. Bobby Crush, it's a simple choice. Misery in England on £1,000 a month, or happiness in Thailand on £1,000 a month. Yeah, well, I'd choose the second one. Mac, if drunk girls hit on you, is that bad or good? Depends what they look like, or what their motives are. Anti-Moto, Eddie, did you run into the female vampire in Romania? Unfortunately not. The female vampire in that movie, the one with, the hairy, womanly bit, that was actually filmed in, where was it? Madeira. The Survivors, London, the Survivors TV series from the 1970s, unbelievable. The storyline with COVID situation, look it up. Oh my God almighty. I don't remember the Survivors. Daniel Kelly, I spent £2,000 a month there. I live like a king for that. Okay, £2,000 a month is more realistic. Michael Powell in non-Perneg being 104 Oscars tonight. The place is all getting. I love Oscars. Absolutely love Oscars. I had some great times there. Really good. Good live band and everything. Really enjoyed that place. Great little bar. This Jagermeister's going down well. So I've been on for 2 hours now, so we'll do a little bit more. A little bit more. It's midnight here in Romania. Yours travels. I suppose them rooms look good after 10 pints. Let's it. Roddick Daniels, always pay monthly rate hotels if you can and use it as a base to travel elsewhere. You can save yourself a bit of money doing that. I actually like the idea nowadays, you know, of well, pedestrian travel, travelling at a slower rate. I think the next time in Thailand, I think I'll be looking to stay in condos, maybe for a month at a time. I think that would be a far better idea, definitely. Mark Ollig, are soapy massages considered a hobby? You can be. You can, bloody good. I mean, it's a bloody good fun hobby. A good old soap. You've got to get the right girl though, really, for the soapy massage. I had a wonderful regular soapy massage girl in Bangkok once. Absolutely wonderful, perfect. But then, you know, she wasn't there one day, and I got another girl, and she just didn't get the air con right, and that soapy can be very, very cold if they don't get the temperature right. So, but yeah, it's not a bad hobby to have. Kipax, 2,000 a month is a good life in Thailand. Martin Rad, the soapy massage is considered essentials. Well, like they are if you get the right girl. Gary B771, talking sci-fi, I used to like Space 1999. I never really got into that program. I think what it is with that program, Space, I didn't like the actors. I didn't think it was in the league of some other great science fiction programs like Star Trek or UFO. Space 1999, it seems to have a miserable bunch of actors, that one. I didn't like the actors in it. Haters, you'd have a good life staying sober. Get good hobbies and healthy lifestyle. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy life if not go-go bars, okay? Mark Ollick, The Essentials. What is The Essentials? What is that? Is that a TV series? I don't know, I've heard of that one. Kipax, can't beat the girly part. Nick Ross, forget Thailand. Go retired in Myanmar or Laos. Of upcoming, I don't think I'd enjoy either of those. I've never been to Myanmar, but Laos was not one of my favourite places. Oh, soapy massage. Is that what you mean, Mark? The soapy massages are essentials. They're not essential, but they're bloody good fun, definitely. Yeah, Paul Smith, Kipax, does that include top line beauties, good food, good housing, drinks all round? Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's a massive issue there. How much you would need to retire. I mean, I would say like I personally, I personally could have a good life in Thailand on £2,000 a month. Um, but I really any less than that. I mean, because it's not just your weekly spend. There will come a time when you will need, a few other things, and you're always going to need to have surplus. But I don't think 1,000 a month is realistic. Mark Ollig, it's also a clean hobby. I'll tell you what, mate. A couple of times in those soapy massages, I come out of there and I could hardly walk. I mean, I remember coming out of, I can't remember what's that well-known soy off Suka bit where you have the soapy massages. The Eden place is up there as well. I come out of that soapy massage with a big grin on my face, but really it just whacked me out, that did. It really did whack me out. I remember getting on that BTS SkyTrain in Bangkok and, oh my God, I'm going to collapse in a minute. I'm going to collapse. It really, really can take it out of you. D. Cook, $1,000 in Cambodia goes a long way. Good life, $1,000 a month. Okay, guys, do you know what? I really, 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 really want to go to Cambodia again. I really do. I almost went there earlier this year, but they cancelled a flight, and it was a problematic time. But I really want to go to Cambodia again, and I want to make some videos there. And I really, on my next travel, I really, really hope to get there. Really do. Steve West, Minder was good. It was a good series. It was a good series. You know, Dennis Walter was a likable guy. Yeah, it was a good series. It wasn't one of my favourites. Your travels. Yes, I really go out in the UK and I don't smoke, but I do 6 holidays a year abroad. People say, how can you afford it? I say, I just answered you. Bang on. You're dead right, yours travels. Dead right. My sentiments exactly. D. Cook, my mate rents a flat for $50 a month in Cambodia. Jesus, really? That's less than $2 a day. Kipax, okay. You can't live like you're on holiday forever if you move to town. It will be the debt. But you can have a nice life on that amount. Patriots just won. See, everyone's got a different opinion on this. Everyone's got a different opinion. Patriots just won. $1,000 a month in Cambodia is not much if you drink and stay in 136. If you stay in 136, there's just heaps of bars and the temptations are all there. DQ Thailand will cost you loads more. Martin Ryder, it's open, EVs and no problems. Yeah, I was looking. I've looked at lots of videos, and I was watching. I spent a couple of hours early today looking through all these YouTube videos and you know, Google and stuff, and trying to get a bit of information about retirement. But everyone's got a different opinion. You know, you look at the listings. You know, which is the best country? Some guy says Philippines. Why his YouTube video is called Philippines. Why the Philippines is the greatest place to retire to. You look down the list, and the next guy's got a video out that says, whatever you do, do not retire to the Philippines. It's, you know, you don't know who to believe. You just don't know who to believe. Oh, I'm going to better. We are posting. Okay, who have we got here? 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 Lisa Dale is here. Still going on about Thailand and the sex trade in another country. You really have a sickness. Oh, it's still life. I tell you what, I'd be bloody sick if I woke up to you every day, Lisa. Oh my God almighty. Oh, Jesus Christ. Your face would frighten the bloody burglars off. Okay, nice to hear from you, Lisa. Nice to hear from you. Kipax, I'm in Bangkok for 5 days, then Pattaya for 10 days before heading to Chang. That sounds like a great holiday, mate. Great holiday. Martin Ryder, workers on the Bangkok SkyTrain were paid 250 baht a day back in the day. Jesus, in some bloody English pubs in Pattaya or Bangkok, 250 baht would get you a pint of ale, 1 pint. Scrunch impacts until 9th of November of any good. Chris B. Regan, the Sweeney pilot, is good at it. Oh yeah, I think I've seen that once. I think I've seen that. That actually was the pilot before the TV series. I think I did see that. Nick T. Lisa looks like a 20 stoner. Okay. Thailand is pricing themselves out. Stuart Lennox. Thailand is pricing themselves out of the market. Stephen West, we have a 20 stone lady in the chat. Gemini style, Lisa needs a pizza. No, I think what Lisa needs is a good bit of bloody Gambian sausage. She needs to go to Gambia and get a good bit of Gambian sausage. That'd put a smile on her face. Kipax, okay, that's a personal message there. Daniel Kelly, Eddie, that's £500 a week. Do you spend £500 a week here? Oh, when I'm in England, yeah, that's a good point. No, I don't spend anywhere near £500 a week when I'm in England, but I don't have the temptation. I don't have the fun that I have in Thailand. You see, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Daniel. You're quite right. But the idea of going to live in somewhere like Thailand, you want to live. You really want to live. You know what I mean? And it's the difference between living and existing. John Kay, it's cheaper to rent than cover the Thai bears' entire expenses as a girlfriend. At retirement age, you're not getting a young one without some benefits to her, absolutely. And her family as well, don't forget. Let me see. Up to me, get many from Bangkok to Koh Chang, 500 baht, okay? My Regan shuttered Tinkerbell. There's one scene in the Sweeney, isn't it, where they're waiting for these armed robbers, and Regan shoves this bloody big meathead up against the van. He says, "Okay, Tinkerbell, you're next." Oh, wonderful! John Thor was a wonderful actor. Tintin, 2,000 a month. I better get back to work. Ivan, Eddie, Lisa from the social club is spying on us. I'm sure she is. Catback 79. How much does the cost of living vary from city to city in Thailand? The cost of living from city to city. Bangkok is probably the most expensive place. But you can get by. It doesn't have to be. You can find good value in them. It's expensive if you go and eat and drink at the real touristy places. But you can find better. You can find better value if you really look around in Bangkok. But Pattaya, it's got all the things that Bangkok has got to offer, but at a much better value. Martin Ryder, health. Let's see, Martin Ryder, health emergency. I die. Okay. Stuart Lennox, Ked down 3 years now. We get okay. Sniper Tunes, if you're not aware of spending in Thailand, you end up on Titanic. Dennis Stoikov, Ed, have you noticed many Brits in Romania? No, very, very few. Very, very few. Really quite nice, really, No lager loads. Luxor 355. Hi Eddie, just got back from the Bristol Harbour Side Festival. I noticed you were on. Are you back in the country? No, I'm still in Romania. I'm going to be here for a few more days. No, I hope you had a good day, mate. Man, drinking beer all day again? No, because I'm actually enjoying a nice Jagermeister right now. What does this taste like? Well, I suppose it tastes like Jagermeister, doesn't it? Ooh. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. £10, 30cl, 70cl bottle of Jagermeister. £10, about £10 in English money from my local supermarket here in Bucharest. Martin Ryder, many Farangs with dementia are going to Thai care homes, third of the price of the UK. And when you get visit the Rocket Palace in Bangkok, and when you get visit the Rocket Palace in Bangkok, oh God, that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible, that Martin. Imagine being bloody 90 years old in a care home in Thailand. And then, 1 minute, they're washing you down. That's a polite way of doing it. And then they polish you. Oh, no. I don't think I'd like to. I think I'd rather die, mate. Stuart Lennox, time mentality. We've been locked down for 3 years. Now open, get the money back quickly. Farang. Didn't get lost from me. Okay. Esan man, at the Esan, nice to hear you. Esan man, great information. Give me a lot of really, really great information. $1,000 US, that's inflation for you. A couple of years ago, YouTube was full of vloggers saying you can live comfortably on $500. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. I think you would live very, very sadly on that. Really, very, very sadly. Sean the Prawn, Eddie, what do you think of Thai ladies with fake boobs? Used to them by now. Yeah, Kevin, minimum €3,000 a month. Everyone's got a different opinion. They've all got a different opinion, haven't they? Kipax down in one. That's bloody good, that. That bottle will be destroyed by... No. It already is midnight. It's 20 past midnight here. Andy Moto, no squeaky door. Not here. Stephen West, any Lamb's Navy rum? I'll tell you what I did like. I tried to get it from the supermarket. I do like this. Jeez, it's all in rum. I'm not even sure what it is. Cavo d'Oro. I do like this. I'm not even sure what it is. It tastes like a sort of a rum, but that's nice. That's nice. But I've run out of it. The supermarket didn't have any more. Hangover material. Mark Ollie, cheers, Eddie. Okay, thank you, Mark. Martin Blunson, hangover material, lad. Cough medicine. I'll tell you what, one thing about this bloody Jagermeister, it goes down very, very easy. Too easy. Kipax, can't mix my drinks like Eddie does. I'm terrible for it. You know, I drink anything and everything. It gets monotonous when you're drinking the same thing over and over again. I like to drink other things. I'm going to have another Jagermeister. Lovely stuff, beautiful. Oh, lovely. I'm going to take it nice and easy anyway. What have I got to eat? I'll tell you what I've got from that supermarket. The bread here is quite nice. We get it from the supermarket. I've got lovely stuff. Very, very nice. Very, very cheap. I'm gonna have a nice. I've got nice chicken in the fridge. You know, or pressed ham or whatever the hell it is. I can't remember what it is, but I'm gonna have a few nice buns later. Steph Traveller, cheers. Okay, nice to hear from you, Steph. Hope all's well, mate. Paul Huey, Ed, once you open the Jagermeister, you don't bother putting the lid back on. Down in one. A 70cl bottle of a down that in one. I think I would have a problem. Martin Ryder, licorice. Quite right, Martin Ryder. You're quite right. It does taste a little bit like licorice. Lovely stuff. John K. Jaeger is lovely with Red Bull, Ed. No. I don't like to mix my drinks. Occasionally, with a whiskey or a Lamb's Navy rum, I will have a little teensy weensy bit of block of ice with it, but nothing more than that. I don't like mixes. Up to me, Ed Peace from Thailand bound got his insurance for £100 a month, 1,200 quid a year. Now that sounds good. Yeah, I'm sure that's possible. Good for them. Scrotty and more. Eddie, John TM are beautiful condo systems with huge pool and security service. Sounds nice. Okay. Do you know, I've never actually investigated the condos in John TM. I've heard quite a lot about them, but I've never actually investigated them. John Hughes, tastes like the Mersey water, that stuff. There's not the bloody sewer tastes better than the Mersey, mate. Yogi Bear, Ed, the one that I love was Tales of the Unexpected. Roald Dahl, yeah, wonderful. I like Tales of the Unexpected. I think it went downhill after a while, because in the early series, they showed all the best of Roald Dahl, but later, some of the later episodes went downhill a bit. But yeah, that was bloody good, that. Catback, Jagermeister remind me of college. Everyone in my house had a mini freezer with that, or Black House. Kipax, do you like tequila, Eddie? That sounds like a good name. That's a Tequila Eddie. Good name for a YouTube channel, Tequila Eddie. Tequila, never really gotten into that. John TM Beach condo, 10,000 baht a month. How much is that? That's 250 quid a month. That's cheap. That's good, isn't it? It's about 250 quid, isn't it? Nick Ross, yeah, they still had tattoos called Sat Yank tattoos, okay? Even in 1972, Jesus. Paul Huey, it still gives me the shakes looking at a bottle of Black Jaeger Death. Okay. Catback, Minifid. Andrew Graham, hello Ed, when are you back in Pattaya? Well, I'm getting to that stage now when I'm looking forward to being back in Pattaya. Don't forget, I've done 4 months, first 4 months of the year in Thailand. But what I have heard about Pattaya now, I've heard a lot of people are saying that Pattaya is pretty, very quiet now. It is in the low season. I think May and June, when they relaxed some of the rules, the anti-this rules, the anti-rules, I think there was a bit of a surge of people going back to Thailand or Pattaya. Whereas now it seems to be pretty quiet. I noticed Nick and Martin, one of their videos this week, said that it's quiet now. Maybe it'll be. I think Nick said September. Martin said it'll be like November before they really get the people back. Well, it is low season now. It's right. This is low season. This is a time of year when most people wouldn't be going there anyway, regardless of the anti-virus or anything. But what was I saying? Like I say, I was there quite a bit early this year, so it's still fresh in my mind. But when I get back to England, it's don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if I suddenly announce, guess what? I've just booked a flight. Don't be surprised. I will like to be in Pattaya later this year. I really would. You can't stay away from Pattaya for too long, otherwise you start missing the place. Fred Mays, everything changes over time. May as well adjust and embrace the fun stuff. Martin Ryder, 1972 GIs hanging around the Great Hotel in Nana. Great R&R. Okay. Nick Ross, in 1972, Pattaya was just a tiny fishing village. Absolutely, I think Pattaya sprung up, didn't it, because of the Vietnam War. The soldiers, were heading to Pattaya there, because why the hell not? Why the hell not? I think that's where they sprung up from. Scrotty Amor, will you go to Constantia while in Romania? No, if you're talking about Constanta, I've been down that way. I've been on the Black Sea coast, and it was okay. It can't really rival the Mediterranean resorts, but I preferred the other places that I've seen in Romania. Up to me. If staying in Thailand, get a full time, get a Thai girlfriend, give her 10,000 a month, she'll be happy. Just get a short time every so often. Happy days. Jesus, you're a loyal boyfriend, aren't you? Get a girlfriend and then go and have a few short times. Oh, Jesus. Loyalty, man, loyalty. Whatever happened to love and romance and faithfulness? Eddie's metric ton wife. Eddie, when are you coming home, lad? I'm going back to the UK in a few days' time. Mike Richardson, going to Thailand in February, flight was 1,070 biz class. Well, that's good for you. Is that a return? Yeah, it's good for you, but that sounds cheaper than it normally would be. Pele, Eddie, did you check out Neptune at night in Romania? No, I didn't. I didn't check Neptune out. I know where you mean. To be honest with you, when I hit Marmia in the Black Sea, it was very much a family resort, but I kind of got lazy and run out. I was there for a week, and I will do a review of that bloody awful place that I stayed. I will do a review of that. I was there for a week. I kind of run out of energy. I was down by the beach. I didn't really go to the other places, Constanta or Neptune or whatever. I seen what I wanted to see at the beach and you know, it's a couple of nice beach bars. I got a bit lazy there. The Black Sea, that place wasn't the most exciting place, but no, never mind anyway. It's I've had some good highlights in but you know, I've had some good highlights in Romania. Pele, Neptune at night. No, man, unless you can tell me different. I never seen it at night. Yours travels. I only ever planned 4 winter months in Thailand, November to February. Love the UK too much. I own a house here, great medical help, earn good money, Weatherspoon's great for a meal, and a few beers for 50 man. Good for you, mate. Good for you. Good for you, mate. Eddie's metric ton wife and preggers to Iqbal. Oh my God, my massive wife has got herself a Gambian gigolo who's got pregnant. You thought I have Irish pals done it, but they never leave Ireland. Yeah, I know plenty of people back in the UK have never been anywhere. And what I can't stand, I know I've said this a lot of times, is bloody armchair experts. Armchair expert. How many Jagermeisters I had? Armchair experts, have you ever heard the likes of it? I can't stand these people who will tell you all about third world countries on the basis of me mates being there. A load of crap, mate, you know what I mean? And these people who tell you this stuff, they probably, the only holiday they've ever been on is to Tenerife, you know. Kipax, don't you have a return flight boot or are you staying longer? I've got a return flight boot, leaving in a few days anyway. Sean Bill, you'll be tasting that drink all day tomorrow, Ed. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't like it. I love drinking, but I hate hangovers. Eddie's metric ton wife. Iqbal takes care of me. You're always off on your travels. He takes care of you. Okay, yeah, but you know, is he going to look after you when you know you've got no more money to give him? Is he going to look after you then? Asia travel. Does anyone remember Martini's non-pen? Do you know something? I never ever went to Martini's. I heard that it's one of those. Apparently, you've got a tuk-tuk and it was miles out of town. And I heard Martini's is this big place, this big sort of bar, nightclub complex, whatever, with loads of sexy chicks. And apparently, it was a legendary place in Phnom Penh. I never went there. Simply because I always stay Riverside area in Phnom Penh. And in Riverside area, you had 104 Street, you had 136 Street, you had other places in that area. What would I need to get a tuk-tuk miles out of town in order to meet ladies? I mean, you know, I think the girls that I met in you know, in the Riverside area in Phnom Penh were good. So I never actually went there. Never went there. Dennis Stoikov, were there many Brits in Romania? I haven't met many at all. Lux 34, now Red Bull with the Jagermeister. No, Red Bull, that keeps you bloody awake, that doesn't it? I don't drink that. Mike Richardson, Annie's massage was the best. I never went to Annie's massage, but I've heard of it. That was quite a famous soapy massage in Bangkok. The one that I went to quite regularly, I can't remember the name of it, funnily enough. But that was bloody good. Never actually made it to Annie's. Lewis C. stayed one night in Nana Hotel in 1980. I'm getting, oh my, how many Jaeger bombs? I'm starting to say that this guy went there in 1897. No, he went there in 1987. Great disco and thrillers. Go-Go and Nana Plaza was great. Then Sexual and Pat Bomb, mind blown, okay. Shane W. Jagermeister is dangerous. Well, yeah, okay. You know, so was playing on a railway line, but at least Jagermeister is more fun. Martin Ryder, off to get legless. Catch you later. Okay, nice to use a beer. Oh, always nice to have you in the chat, Martin. Have a good night, mate, anyway. Okay. Nick Ross, Annie's massage was one of the best in those days, and the Darling massage is still there. Okay. Oh, you're making me think of soapy massages in Bangkok right now. Oh, I'm starting to miss that place. Rush UK, what's the best site to find monthly condo rentals in Poseidon? I don't know. I need to find that one out. I was staying in hotels personally. You know, but I have I'm gonna have to start thinking about that. Martin Blonston, soapy massage is a piece of art done well. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yours Travels, Paul Huey, cheers mate. I love all coaches, but England and Liverpool is great. Yours Travels, okay. Paul Huey, cheers mate. I love all coaches and travel, but England and Liverpool is great. Eddie won't agree, he hates Liverpool. Just because I don't live there doesn't mean to say that I hate it. Mike Richardson, looking forward to Soy 6. Yeah, I never indulged in Soy 6 the last time I was in Pattaya, but I wouldn't mind indulging in there again. Ben Leno, give Lau another chance. I'll show you around. Okay, thanks for that. D. Cook, Lewis, I was in Nana in 87. I stayed in Nana Hotel and did the shows. Yes, it was mind blowing. Okay. Thailand gagged and bound, £100 a month, not anymore. Let's not show you what you're talking about there. David Lucas, thought you might have done tonight's live stream from the Old Town on a Saturday night. No, this live stream, we've talked about retirement in Thailand, so that's why I've done it here. It's about a subject we're talking about. That would be too distracting, that would. Plus, there's tons and tons of copyright music in the Old Town, but at the night time. But I will do. I've done a video from the Old Town, and I probably will do another one because I've got more footage as well. Nick Ross, give Lau more time. It takes time to gather the stable together, a couple of months at least. Lau girls are wonderful, but like to keep it in the family. Lau girls are wonderful, but like to keep it in the family. In what way? In what way? It sounds like one of those creepy bloody sites on Pornhub. That is, keep it in the family. Oh my God Almighty. Kappa, with inflation, isn't 3k to Kappa with inflation isn't 3,000 or 3,500 more realistic for those that don't want to live like a monk? Yeah, well, for that amount that you've just said in Thailand, you could live really, really well if you don't want to live like a monk. I think what you mean is you want to go out and party and enjoy yourself. Yeah, that's more realistic, mate. It's more realistic. Robert Jones, steady, I reckon you can live very, whatever. D. Turley, 2,000 a month would be more than enough, I think. I envy you, mate. When you're thinking of going back. Oh, what month are we in? July. I'm still in Romania now. I'll go back to England, sort a few things out. But when that dark winter starts coming, you know, later this year. Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if I book a flight. Tintin, Cambodia is great, absolutely. Mike Richardson, Darlin's massage Bangkok was okay, but Annie's was the best. All this talk of soapy massages is making me feel that I want to book that flight back out to Bangkok. Robert Jones, 60,000 baht, live comfortably for £1,400. Okay, okay. You suppose you could, but 1,400 and 1,500, I suppose it's doable, but 1,000 a month is, that just seems to me to be very, very realistic. Lux, 335. Would you move back to the Wirral? I've never lived in the Wirral for my life. I'm from the I'm from the real deal. I'm from the city of Liverpool. The Wirral. That's the place I used to go on holiday. A ferry across the Mersey. That was like going to an exotic destination for me. D. Cook. Just shop at the markets, cheap food, cook their own with your bed. Sounds a bit dull to me, to be honest with you. Chaz Brown, do you remember that other 60s series, Lost in Space? Love the names Dr. Smith gave the robots, such as Bubble-Headed Bobby. I don't really, I have heard of it, I don't really remember it that well. Yogi Bear, now this is good. See, really, I should put more messages, we should, really, because there's a lot of good information here, isn't there? Ed, check out the house sites in Cambodia. I think you would have a shock. The places I'm renting there is so cheap. Sounds good. Thanks for that info. Robert Jones, 2,000. You'll be pressed to spend that steady if you're there full time. Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean, Robert. Robert, you wouldn't need to spend £2,000 a month every month. Some months you would spend probably significantly less than that, but there will come a month, another month when the unexpected can be anything. You need new stuff, you new equipment, whatever. All your bills come in, and over the period of time, I think £2,000 a month, between $2,000 and £2,000, and there's not a lot of difference in this day and age. I think that would be more realistic. You never know when the unexpected is going to happen, and you're simply going to need some surplus money. Up to me, Arf Ederson, great TV show, and it's on YouTube. Yeah, that was in the 1980s. That was about English workers who were going out to Germany to make a bit of money. Yeah, because England was in a bit of a bad state then. Thailand gagged and banned. Thailand is not a reciprocal country where state pension is concerned. That's interesting. Yeah, that is absolutely interesting. Okay, so I've been on for 2 hours and 42 minutes now. So anything else? Okay, let me just. Okay, I think I've fallen well behind on the chat here. Paul Louis, Ed, take Lisa to Cambodia. Will feel like you won the social raffle every day and twice on Sunday. Paul Hoskin, India must be cheap to live in. Not far from the Thai. It's about 4 hours journey. Yeah. Do you want to live in India? I've been to it. I spent a month in India some years ago, and I like Indian people when I met them. I like I got the old Delhi belly stuff. Gemini Star, Nigerian sausage is longer. Okay, I'll have to tell my wife Lisa that anyway. DQ, I never had a TV license ever, and now I don't have one forever. Okay. Yeah, Lux, when you say you want to live, am I right to say that includes multiple women at one time? Well, you mean you're living off sandwiches? Sounds good to me. Kenny Buck, I'm counting down at these 6 weeks of back in Pattaya. Lots of people. I know you're heading out soon. Okay. So I'm just going to see how far behind that I've been in the chat. She had a, okay. Paul Huey, that Jagermeister would cost double in the UK. Apologies if I've missed out on anyone. Okay, apologies if I've missed out on anyone. Let me just see that again. Come here a minute. She had a hairy muff. I do like the hairy stuff. Thank you for that super chat. Ed, you look very, very sexy and you aroused me massively. Okay, I'm pleased to hear I'm pleased to hear that. Thanks for that super chat. Bobby Crush, exactly. If you have a low income or capital to spend, don't go to Pattaya, Bangkok or Phuket and moan. Go up north and you will live like a king. Live in reality. Maybe that's too Bobby Crush, but is it exciting? I mean, up north in northern Thailand, I've been to Chang Mai a few times and also to Sukhothai. I think maybe a couple of other places, but it wasn't the most exciting place. Yeah, I could be wrong. Maybe I've got to know it a bit better. Tintin, 90 years old in Thailand, soapy every day before you fall off your perch. Sounds grand. Okay. Bobby Crush, Eddie will sup out of its cheap. He's had 1 litre of cucumber cherry because it was £3 in Bulgaria. Tasty stuff. Charlie Stewart, right, normally tongues a shot with Red Bull. I don't like Red Bull, I don't like it. Okay, I'm going to fast forward this a little bit. Apologies if I've missed out because I've fallen a long way back in the chat, a long way. I've been on for 2 hours and 45 minutes now. Let me see now. Let me see now. Okay, let me see. Yours Travels, thank you for that. Yours Travels, $8.99 super chat. Thank you for that. Yours, been a great stream tonight, Ed. Grab a meal on me. Okay, cheers, mate. I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. Thanks for that, mate. Anyway, I'm going to go a little bit further to see where we are in the chat. John K. Best stream in ages, Eddie. Enjoyed the chat and comment feed. Okay, thank you, mate. The simplicity. The reason somebody mentioned why am I doing this from Bucharest Town Centre. It's simply because it distracts. We were talking about some serious issues tonight, so I thought we'd do it this way instead. But thanks for that super chat, mate, and thanks for that comment. I appreciate that, mate. Really do. And I'm going to finish soon. It's 2 hours 46 minutes. I've waffled on. I've waffled on. And I don't normally drink Jagermeister. It's not something I normally drink, but this 70cl bottle cost me a tenner from that supermarket down the road. I'm in Bucharest right now. Okay, there we go. And I like Bucharest. There we go. So, and I like Jagermeister. Jesus. This head, what is this going to feel like tomorrow morning? God knows, God knows. Okay. Well, Oscar, I'm not very keen on Thai food. Good for you, mate. Bar fans and Padlands, big up, Eddie. HW, 60, you look 70. The same was said about Errol Flynn, wasn't it? I mean, didn't Errol Flynn, he lived his life so much, to such an extent. Apparently, when he was on his deathbed, apparently he died at 50, didn't he, from excess living. And didn't somebody say when he died at 50, he had the body of a 70-year-old man? Jesus Christ. Chris H, dude, that is a substantial bottle. Yogi Bear, you're going to finish that bottle soon, you mean? It's nice. It tastes of licorice. Licorice. That's what it tastes like. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. I'm not very keen on sci-fi. Okay, we're coming to the end of the chat. I'm going to wrap this up in a couple of minutes' time because we've talked about we've talked about retirement, and we've got to have a system. What I really love about these kind of streams, that when we deal with a subject like retirement in Thailand, everyone's got their own input about the cost of how much it will cost you, and whether it's a good idea, and my own idea of whether I really want to retire, or whether, 6 months in England working, and 6 months in the winter in Thailand, having fun. Is that the better option? I think I'll go with the second one. 6 months here, 6 months there. It's not a bad lifestyle. And what about maybe a few years down the line when I simply can't work anymore? Well, maybe when I can't work anymore, maybe that's the time to think about retiring abroad and not working. But the way I say, I like work. I actually like it. And the idea of not working, if I couldn't work anymore, then what kind of physical? I'd probably be in a bit of a sad physical state. You know what I mean? So boo-hoo, you won't get another cold fever. Your travel's true. Bar fines and powder lines don't do it. Paul Hoskin, I only like roast duck or chicken with rice and liver in a buffet. That's about it. Stephen Forex, nice to hear from you, mate. It depends if you want to retire or live in vacation mode. Both fine if you can afford it. It's a massive subject. It's a massive subject. But what it is, we've exhausted a little bit here. We've talked about, and the input from you guys has been absolutely brilliant. Got some really, really great ideas here. Super nice. Thanks a lot for the great chat tonight, Eddie. Stephen Forex, Snowbirds sounded great to me, Ed. Boo-hoo, yours. Ed talks faster, so same. Paul Huey, that supermarket and the local brewery are going to miss you when you go home, but I guess the bag will be full of cheap Bulgarian goodies. I'm actually in Romania, to be honest with you. I don't know if you know that. Super nice and full to follow the comments as well. Chuck Martins, great lifestyle. No point in retiring to a country where you're a second-class citizen. Well said, mate. Bobby Crush, Eddie, if you were a ladyboy, how much would you charge for a long time? I think I'd probably be bargain basement, to be honest with you. Okay, Yogi Bear, Ed, you have the best of both worlds. Work there and live there. Okay, cool. And Jock Martin, 6 months on, 6 months off, perfect. Okay, and that sounds good. I think I'll end on that note anyway. I've drank far too many Jagermeisters. I'm going to have one of those buns with chicken or pork or whatever the hell is in it, ham or whatever it is. Kevin, fantastic video tonight, Ed. Thanks from Ireland. Okay, listen guys, it's been great talking to you all. Thanks for the input. It's a really interesting subject, retiring abroad, and it's not something unique. There are some people who make light of the issue. Get your ass out of it. Get out to Thailand. Don't dither about it. It's not as simple as that. It's probably one of the biggest moves you'll ever make in your life, retiring to another country. So you need to think very, very carefully about it. And I really, really do thank you for your input. Listen, guys, thanks for the super chats tonight, everyone, and really, really appreciate it. Have a lovely evening, a lovely day, and I'll be back very, very soon. Cheers. Thanks for the great night, guys.